Hey, boys and girls, weather report for March 24th, 2021.
Hey, hey,
Why do we do this every day?
because our lives are empty and meaningless without Christ, and we
Yeah,
just, what else are we going to do but,
yeah.
gather together as people and talk about
My
things?
life is empty and meaningless.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. So, what are we going to talk about today? So, on the show icon, I had intermediate filaments, which are and I was doing something dumb just now, looking for a connection between cotton, which is a plant, and intermediate filaments, which are animal things. And I don't know. So I had a thing on intermediate filaments, which are really important for a lot of different reasons. The one that concerns us most is that the inside of the nucleus is lined with something called lamin, which are intermediate filaments, and they hang on to your chromosomes, and they sort of organize them into areas, chromosomal territories. And that has a lot to do with the with cells being different from one another, having basically different expression patterns and a bunch of other stuff. So, and also it keeps your chromosomes from screwing up and breaking down and unraveling and, basically not regulating well. And if you have, I think it's, I don't know much about disease, but I think it's muscular dystrophy. If you have a genetic defect in that nuclear lamin that holds your chromosomes, it eventually, it doesn't kill you right away, but eventually by moving around, by doing movement, you tear your muscle nuclei apart and your muscles start to break down if that lamin doesn't hold right. So it's kind of the glue that holds cells together. It also makes things like hair and horns and
Hello.
and
It's
it
going midnight.
gives your cells structure, and it's just your cells are stuffed with this stuff, and they look like the picture I had there, and it's called a coiled coil. It's a 4 alpha helices that are lined up end to end, and then they wrap around one another and form a dimer, and then those kind of hook up and form a tetramer, and then they hook up and they go up to I think some fibers have 32 proteins in them. And I was looking at how did that thing evolve, because it has little components in it that are called heptads, which are 7 amino acids, and they have a certain pattern. And the pattern that they have is basically, I think the first and the fourth, and maybe the last one are, they don't like water. So when it folds up, they basically, the ones that don't like water are all on one side of the molecule, and they very quickly line up and fold around each other. So the low energy state for these guys is the folded state, the fiber state. So they very quickly form fibers. And there's a interesting phylogeny behind them. And humans have, I think we have maybe 20, 30 major families. Well, there's 7 classes of lamins. There's 6 or 7 classes, and then we have a whole bunch of families. Anyway, they're very important, and it would be interesting to ask ourselves, how did this protein evolve in the first place? How did it develop? So anyway.
I mean, it's definitely a good thing to ask, so that way you could see how you could, I don't know, use it.
Right.
Because you said it's in the muscles, right?
Well, no, that's not your major thing in the muscle, in the nucleus of all your cells, basically. But they happen to be in the nucleus. Your muscles, you have actin and myosin, and it's a different kind of fiber. But this one holds your your chromosomes in their place in the nucleus, so they don't get bounced around and don't kind of get all tangled up. And you'd have helter-skelter gene expression.
So basically, if the nucleus, this is an analogy. If the nucleus is a house, these chromosomes would be, would be in a dresser.
Kind of, yeah. It organizes them. It puts them into territories, nuclear territories, and your neurons require them in order to have that big old axon that sticks out, and those all the dendrites that gather. Dendrites gather information, and axons take that information and they fire it along a tunnel. And those tunnels are very much shaped by these intermediate filaments. So I just thought I would do a little science fact, and it's something that I'm looking into. How did this thing evolve? Because the creationists would naturally ask us, how did that thing evolve? And I thought I would look into why or how or why or what we know about it. And so far, I have only scratched the surface of understanding these little critters. So,
and then they go, well, that's great, Speed, but how did ATP evolve?
I know.
So,
I know.
But no, it's good to know. It's good to know those things.
Right.
You're trying to become an expert.
Yeah, I think I think it's a fair question, and it's a fair question for all of us. But
Speed should definitely go for his PhD.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But anyway, too much work.
Well, okay, yeah. In your study or whatever whatever the hell, have you ever come across, have you ever come across a way to optimize brain processing?
No. Well, I don't want to talk about the ways that you can optimize brain processing.
Does it require heroic amounts of mushroom?
No.
Heroic doses, I mean?
Yeah, I don't even want to go there because it's a long story about why you should not try to optimize your brain processing. If you can make your brain faster, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to be depressed as fuck in about 1 day.
I mean, I'm already. Hold on, Speed. Let me correct you. I'm already depressed as fuck. Okay.
Well, if you want to be more depressed, take pills that will enhance the speed of your brain, and you will crash because humans. Your brain is kind of like your automobile. It's only got so much gas in it, and when you run out of gas, you are fucked. So I wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, but gas can be refilled. Like a car, you can refill. You can refill a car, and the brain you can also refill, even though it takes like 20% of your fucking calories.
Right.
Like holy shit, this fucking thing is an energy monster.
Well, actually, I think when you're really working on something, it's like 75% or something like that of your glucose you're sucking up in your brain. Brains are extremely.
Well, no wonder I eat too much. I'm always thinking.
Brains. Anyone?
Brain.
Okay, and so
well, okay. You know what? I just want to say something really quick. I honestly think the movie Lucy messed you up.
Oh, the movie Lucy is so bad.
See?
Oh my God,
It messed you up.
I can't believe how bad the movie Lucy was as far as neuroscience goes. This 10% bullshit. Oh my God.
What about Limitless? What about the movie Limitless?
That's probably just as bad. I can't remember. Lucy was the worst. It's like, if you use 90% of your brain, you have telekinetic powers, and fuck these people.
I mean,
I have a different take on it. If it's got, oh damn, what's her name? Who starred in Lucy? Come on.
Johansson, right? Yeah, that's.
If it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, it's not the worst movie ever.
No, that was my
course.
That was my conflict. That was my conflict. I went with my son Dustin, and he kept looking at me because he knew the neuroscience was going to drive me crazy.
Well, I mean, look, even
but it had Scarlett in it.
Yes, but even though the neuroscience was wonky, at the same time, holy shit, you have a lot of notifications. I still like it. I still like it because I don't know. I'm a firm believer that there's a lot of untapped potential in our brains, and even though the whole 10% thing is not true. There's still a lot of potential that the brain can then we can unlock. But that's just me, unpopular opinion.
There's a little potential that we can unlock, but most of it I don't know if we want to. But Anyway,
I don't know. Well, Speed, you are. Anyways, moving on. You know what? Let's go to Otangelo because Otangelo is a much, is a much better white whale to
so
chase.
oh my.
Can I
I
give an
wrote-
overview of my Otangelo related studies?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Should we do that next? Because
What?
that was from the Shrouded Turn.
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
before we get into what you were just showing, because
Oh shit!
we're going to have some time getting through there.
Okay.
And holy shit, you have a lot of tabs open.
There we go. Okay, I shared the wrong thing.
Oh wait, hold on. Is Otangelo in the chat?
I'm sure he is. No, I'm
No,
not.
he's
sure.
not.
But we're going to talk about him, so I shared the wrong screen.
Why would you want to talk about a guy who pissed off Jay? I don't know.
Pissed off.
Never mind.
When did he piss Jay off?
I don't know. Like a few days ago, he wouldn't let him on, but whatever. I meant to say he
Really?
was an idiot. Yes.
Hang on a second. Let me check this goddamn Facebook thing.
Yeah.
Does Facebook
By the way,
have-
By the
No.
way, deal with your notifications. Those are like 20. Or 20 plus, I should say.
I don't look at that shit. That's goddamn Facebook.
Then why don't you turn them off?
Can you? Well,
I
there's
don't know.
some-
I forget how, but
I
turn
mean,
them off.
well, there are some notifications that I actually kind of like to see. So
okay. Wait, did the wire? Oh, there it is.
now, why in the hell? Okay, before I must have shared the whole Chrome tab.
Yes, you did.
I shouldn't have been doing that. Okay.
Okay. Can I read, please?
Yeah, but hang on a second. Let me set this up now. I got this from Immutable today, and this was on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And this was after. I think it was right after. Yes, right after he showed up on our thing yesterday and talked about the Shroud of Turin and all of that stuff. So, anyway, you can go ahead and read this.
Okay. The hallmark of a mature atheologist is bitterness. You will hardly find a happy, relaxed, intellectually satisfied militant atheist. Bullshit. They have constantly to fight. They have constantly to fight with cognitive dissonance. Jesus Christ. On the long term, that is tiresome and intellectually unsatisfying. My Otangelo, aren't we the intellectual giant? But okay, it's people like Otangelo that this is the reason why people hate intellectuals. By the way, many reasons. Okay, but since many have spent well, I know, just fucking me up. Have spent a long time investing in the no God world hypothesis. They do not want to give up what they are invested in and think about how much time they have lost. Otangelo, stop projecting. Moving on. See the atheist experience and how angry and irritated Matt Dillahunty constantly is.
Matt Dillahunty.
Matt Dillahung. Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
I was whatever. Many hate the idea of God existing and looking over their shoulders. No, I mean, okay, you know what? If he's looking over my shoulders, I'm like, hey, here you go, buddy. I just give him the finger. Why do many YouTube atheist channels invest so much time accusing God of condoning slavery? And
I agree with that.
because he does.
Well, yeah, that's one reason, but
Because
okay.
they hate the idea of being accountable to God. Bullshit. They know that the God of the Bible is the most likely candidate of being the real God. How? That's
Yeah.
why they invest most of their efforts in denying the God of the Bible. No, since they cannot morally attack Jesus, they focus on questioning if he even existed and rose
Okay.
from the dead. I'm done.
Hold
done.
on just 1 second. I mean, the reason that we attack Christianity more than anything else, not only because it's the most prevalent in this country, but we're kind of afraid of Muslims are going to kill us. So So
I
we pick on
mean,
Christians. So anyway,
Christians can kill us also. Don't forget that.
they
Just
might.
not anymore. Okay, atheist or inexcusable, as the Apostle Paul succinctly wrote in Romans. Go down. Romans 1. Even more today, with all the amazing evidence that we have at hand.
There it is.
Uh, okay, whatever. We believers and Christians, on the other hand. Okay, why different? What? Believers and Christians? Isn't that the same thing?
No, I suppose there are other believers like Muslims and stuff like that. Okay. And the
Okay,
Christian.
fair enough. We believers and Christians, on the other hand, see our worldview more confirmed. The more we dig, the more we know, and the more we discover. Intelligent doesn't. Never mind. We Christians and we believers and Christians, on the other hand, see our worldview more and more confirmed. The more we dig, the more we know, the more we discover. Speed, please take that away. It's distracted me, please.
Oh, my mouse?
No, the banner or whatever the fuck you have, the comment. Thank you. I gotta read.
Really distracted.
I gotta. Yeah, I know. I need to focus more. I need to.
Well, let me go to the top here. Okay, go ahead now. You're on.
We believers and Christians, on the other hand, see our worldview more and more confirmed. The more we dig, the more we know. The more we discover that everything written in the Bible is true. Sorry, everything written in the Bible is true. Noah's Ark has been found with high certainty on Mount Ararat. Sure. What an amazing and welcome surprise. What an amazing Christ's resurrection is proven by the miraculous imprint of Christ's image on the shroud of Turin. How the fuck do you know whether it's Jesus and it's not some random guy? Nobody knows how the image got there. Archaeological. Wait, nobody knows how the image got. What? Nobody knows how the image got there. If he existed and he actually died on the cross and he was.
Right.
Wow, you're an idiot.
Okay.
Jesus. Moving on.
Okay.
Go ahead. Well, if you have something to say, go ahead. It's your show. Okay,
Well, at this point, if that is the image of Jesus on that shroud, then he was a 6'1" micro.
No, hey, hold on a second, Scott.
Keep going.
We're going to get to that right after we finish reading this.
Okay, so let me go.
That's why you're the moderator, man. That's why you're the moderator.
That's why. Yes.
Okay, let me go on. There was no archaeological evidence of King David until recently. The same goes with Exodus. But with recent archaeological discoveries, there's no links. Also, these stories are being confirmed. So one by one, the naysayers have their mouth tapped with the facts that contradict them. They mute and they have nothing more to say. Yes, we Christians have a warranted belief. Praise the Lord. He is faithful. He is truthful.
Okay.
Is there more to this? Because
no, I think I think there's a little truth thing here that shows the Bible, and then there are comments and stuff. But anyway, so Scott found something on the Shroud of Turin. But one more thing about this, even more today with all the amazing evidence that we have at hand. And here is the new the new propaganda point that they're putting out, right? That modern science is discovering that, oh God, the Bible is right. And Standing for Truth does it. Low PP does it. And Raw Matt the Frubat does it. They all do it. They're all Cell does it. They're all putting up this thing that this is the greatest time today because we are just discovering the complexity of biology. Well, that's bullshit because we've known for a long time how complex it is, and it's not leading to anything about the Bible.
I mean, even Aristotle knew that biology that life was complex. He just didn't know how complex it was.
Right. Are you ready to share a screen, or should I go find that intermediate filaments? What did I see? Was it the? Let me. Should I share it for you, Scott?
No, I don't have the any images or anything to show. I can show the article.
That's what he's saying.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
All right, I'm the reader.
What the hell?
If you
Okay,
can zoom in, I'll read.
we'll see. I will share the screen.
I mean, I've
And
designated myself the reader from now on.
I heard through the grapevine that a friend of mine named Rhonda might be watching today.
Well,
And
hello, Rhonda.
Hi, Rondo.
Rhonda.
Rhonda, help me, Rhonda. Okay.
And I heard-
no, don't do it, Scott. Don't do
She's
it.
never heard that one before.
Oh, she never heard that one before. She'll crawl right through the screen and she will rip your fucking soul out of your body.
And
I'm
I've
so
never heard the song Duke of Earl.
All right. Yeah.
And I've never had people tell me anytime they've had a dog named Duke in their life, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. My time to shine. The Shroud of Turin, the great Gothic art fraud, because if it's the real brain of Jesus, was the size of a proto-humans. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we want to read the whole thing, Scott. Do you want to go ahead and tell us what you found out about this? Okay. He was here yesterday, and he had a couple articles that he linked.
Yeah, some of them were to like British stuff. They weren't very well-established papers or anything. So basically, what the guy's saying, as he's an artist, I think, is that the image of the shroud, if it was a actual image of a human, would have had a very small head to body ratio. The body on the shroud is about 6'1". The head is about as small as an Australopithecus would have. So the person, if that was a real person, would have been had microencephaly or something like that, and had a lower down brow ridge than most people had. So if he's 6'1", he's got a small head with a low brow ridge. Also, the one arm of this particular image is very long, like longer than a normal human arm of our day and age, much less longer than a normal, Jewish male of the first century. And the other one is smaller, and it looks like it's been atrophied or something. And the way that the hand is put to be in kind of a modest position or whatever, so the genitals would not be exposed, is not natural for a relaxed corpse. And so if this was Jesus, Judas Iscariot would not have had to tell the soldiers where Jesus was, because he would be immediately identifiable, because he would be that big, funny-looking guy over there towering above all of these first century Jewish males. And so I read this article basically because Otangelo had shared a paper that basically said there were problems with the 1998 carbon dating, and that they need to resample it because you can't say it was between like 1360 and 1430 or whatever, and with 95% statistical confidence. And that's all it said. It didn't say anything about an early date. There was no dating it back to the first century. So the article's a nothing burger, although it's not. I don't know really what Otangelo's point was, other than maybe to overturn the 1988 thing. But the kind of image you have in that shroud was consistent with the Gothic style of art, which I believe began in the 12th century. And so more and more, given the quote that Vesta is referring to down in the live chat and other points of evidence, this was a medieval fraud. There were other people who attempted to pass off the shroud of Jesus in various ways. That was just part of the business of church in that day.
So this is a really old fraud. So they've had it for a long time. They've been
Yeah, it's a really old fraud. And if I remember correctly, there was also a fraud involving the cross of Jesus.
it's an even older fraud, Christianity.
No. Hold on. You mean religion isn't really, is an even older fraud? Let's be, let's be not consistent, but let's be real here.
There's some religion that has merits, like Buddhism.
Well, fair enough. There are some religions that have, they have merits. I will give you that. Although I guess you could say that the three main, Abrahamic religions are frauds.
Well, Tangelo said maybe you are a fraud, Speed.
It's not a fraud. You're a fraud. You're a fraud, Speed.
Well, hold on.
I'm fraudulently representing a 70-year-old man with a YouTube channel.
Yeah, them's fighting words, Otangelo.
Otangelo, are you willing to say that Jesus was a 6'1" microencephalic with monster arms on one side and baby arm on the left side, with a freakishly lowered brow ridge?
I drank on screen. Oh shit.
So I don't know what I don't know what has rattled his cage, so to speak, but I think he's just operating on lack of information and a lot of wanting some sort of support for his belief. Like I said, the only thing he doesn't believe is evolution.
Well, Otangelo, your paper reading skills have failed so badly, so horribly, so terribly that you had to go back to some biblical bullshit like Noah's Ark. And what is this stuff about Exodus? I mean, there's absolutely no evidence that this of Exodus is funny. But I don't know. I don't care so much about picking on the Bible. I know Jay and Jefferson Spatchcock like to do it. A lot of other people like to do it. But I just don't give a shit about the Bible or, any of the tables. I don't know.
Why not?
Because it's a 2,000-year-old book and it's badly written. It's boring as shit. It's hard to read.
I mean, are you saying, are you saying that the epic battles and demons and blood and guts and and revelations is boring?
Dude, go get Game of Thrones. Okay, if you want to read something, read that. I mean, my God. I mean, this was bad writing. You got to admit.
I mean, yeah, it's mixing fantasy with reality. This is why that whole
but it's worse than that. They didn't even make it interesting. They didn't even get into character development barely, and they didn't make you love the characters. I mean, really, it was really a bad show.
And remember, Otangelo, you bring us the articles, we look into them, and our investigation takes us where it goes. This isn't like a bee in my bonnet that I have to get settled. It's something you keep bringing to us, and we analyze it.
There's something I do want to. Otangelo wants in, but there's something I do want to ask him about. First of all, what do you think of basically? What is it? Demonic, hyenic atheologists as our new title.
Okay.
We're demonic, hyenic atheologists. I don't know. That's too much of a mouthful?
An atheologist. Does that mean I have a PhD in atheism?
What is the? Yeah, the NGW hypothesis, no God world hypothesis. That's not a hypothesis.
How about a low probability God world?
Low probability God world.
Well, okay. Have you guys asked Otangelo what the difference between a world created by God and a world created by natural selection? No, not natural selection. Natural processes would look like. Like, what is the difference there? How can you tell the difference?
Yeah. I'm reading chat. So what claim is fraudulent? No, there are no pigments on the shroud. What is on the shroud? What did they find on the shroud? Was there blood?
That was inconclusive.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find 1,200-year-old blood, I suppose. Anyway, so we have that.
Am I reading? Never mind. I guess I'm not reading this.
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, I think maybe. reading might not be that productive overall.
Yeah, it's infidel.org.
Otangelo, did you post a link in chat so Otangelo can come?
I haven't yet.
They found pigments under Shroud years ago.
Okay, if Otangelo comes in, nobody can talk to him about evolution or biochemistry. That's number one rule.
Okay.
Number two, yeah, we can talk about anything else. Like what we really want to talk to Otangelo about is this. The hallmark of the mature atheologist is bitterness. You will hardly find a happy, relaxed, and intellectually satisfied militant atheist.
I mean, that's bullshit.
I think I'm a militant atheist.
I mean, you're an anti-theist, so I'm guessing you are. I'm guessing anyone who's anti-theist is automatically a militant atheist. I don't know.
But the thing is, so I'm a militant atheist, and
show the rant again. Maybe he could tell us the background of where he posted that and why what triggered him to make the rant.
Yeah.
But post the image of it so I can.
I mean, I go on rants all the time.
Well, the thing is, instead of paying a therapist, I have an opportunity here to have Otangelo come in and tell me what's wrong with my life, because I am an atheist, a militant atheist, and maybe he can explain himself.
Speed. The reason the reason your life sucks is because you don't have God in your life.
I know. It's a terrible thing.
Believe, my brothers. Let us believe in the Almighty God who will give you. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, there's the link. We'll see where this shit goes.
It will go to shit.
I'm bored already. I'm bored.
I mean, everybody's bored.
God, I can't get rid of that picture of that kid on the bottom. I've been trying to. Fuck.
Why is there a kid on the bottom? Okay, so where was this thing posted? In Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Under whose account?
Looks like Otangelo. I thought he was banned from Facebook about it. No? For fake news?
I mean, what is fake news but real news?
Well, what's a militant atheist? I want to know. Don't know what that means. I know there's people who like protest outside of various ARC events and things like that. Maybe he means they are just unhappy, so you'd have to talk to them. They have constantly to fight with cognitive dissonance. Well, that's something you can say about anybody in humanity.
Yeah.
So that's not really that great.
Hello, Brenda.
On the long term, that is tiresome and intellectually unsatisfying. I've got lots of subjects of inquiry that are intellectually satisfying. I don't know. And a little bit of intellectual dissatisfaction is good because that's what drives your intellectual energies.
Well, you're thinking of curiosity, not intellectual satisfaction.
I get a case of cognitive dissonance every time I put a big porterhouse steak on my plate alongside some vegetables. And I look at those two things and I'm like, which one should I eat? And it really fucks me up. But I have that problem, so he's right there.
So, good afternoon.
Hey,
Brenda.
So
nice to have you in.
What did you have any words for us on anything, Brenda?
No, I didn't really.
No. Well, Tangelo's here. He's going to tell us why our lives suck.
I guess Otangelo knows my life better than me.
Yeah.
Many hate the idea of God existing and looking over their shoulders. No, I just gave up on the idea of God existing because he was never there when I believed in him.
I don't think I ever really got started. It just never made any sense to me.
A lot of people are like that, and I kind of envy them.
Yeah. Who do we got now? Who's this? Oh, it's David.
Hey, David. How you doing?
Laurie. David Laurie Hayes.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Yes, people invest time showing that God condones slavery because other people deny it or say that that's okay that he did that because he's God. Because they have to be accountable to God. Maybe if God existed and I thought he was a monster, then I would hate the idea of being accountable to a monster.
Okay.
If he's good and just and worthy, then maybe he is. I don't know. I don't. The whole thing about worshiping, worship something because it deserves worship. I just think that's an outmoded power control method of sociology. How do you keep a large group of people together other than people in your tribe? Well, you scare them with religion, and or you provide benefits to them with religion, and they'll stay coherent.
I mean, also, your parents made you. Are you supposed to worship your parents your entire life?
Okay,
Honor them, yeah.
I have something that might tie into this. On HBO last night, I found a series which just started, I think, on QAnon. Oh no, God, did I say that fucking out loud? Shit.
Yes, you did.
Oh my God! Now they're going to put that. Well, they'll put that warning anyway. So there's a documentary on the history of Anon. We'll call it Anon. On the history of it and how it got started. And here's the goddamn thing. Okay, we had some person, one or more people, started posting all these kind of ambiguous statements over and over again, and posted like up to 10 of them a day. And every now and then, one of them would match something that Trump said the next day, and they would consider that proof. But millions of people started following this particular idea. So do you know how powerful and how crazy that is, and how easy that would have been for the Russians to have created that? Or anybody that wants to fuck with anybody could have started this, but it started a whole movement. And isn't that exactly the same thing that started Christianity? Except it didn't happen. It took 50 years because, it was word of mouth. It happened slower. They had all of these, these cryptic words and all attached around a figure. And it started a religion which overtook the West for 2,000 goddamn years. I mean,
it's still overtaking it. Like, it's still around.
I'm sorry.
God is okay. That's
a
UBI.
A Pafivi. We get the message.
I know, but okay, UBI, Universal Basic Income, which honestly, that's probably where America's headed. But that's another topic.
I guess yesterday in the news they had some town in California that experimented with universal basic income.
Stockton.
And it turned out that Stockton, and it turned out that it did not affect people's desire to work. And
so, in other words, you're saying it failed.
It actually succeeded rather well.
In other words, people were still looking for work. They just had a kind of a security cushion, and were able to, make.
I mean, isn't that
look for work?
Isn't that what welfare is already?
No, welfare is a bureaucratic bullshit, fucking feel good program that does horrible harm to the people that it serves, even though it does some good to the people that it serves. But it does it. They make you jump through so many hoops, and they try to demean you. And if you do go to work, they make it almost impossible for you to go to work because they'll take away your benefits if you find part-time work.
I mean, it depends.
I don't understand. Are you on welfare?
Me?
Yeah.
I have had much experience with welfare in my youth, and I know what it's like.
Well, I'm on welfare.
It is a fucking monster program that just could have been done so much better.
Yeah, I don't even disagree with you because I'm on welfare now, and trying to get off of it by eventually getting a job. You know what I mean?
No, and I'm not saying, Brenda, that we should eliminate welfare. We can't. What we should do is turn it into a universal basic income. So the money that those people get, they get to keep all of it, even if they go to work for a while, for up to a year, so that if they do get a part-time job or a low-paying job, that they get both the welfare income plus their income.
Well,
and that will allow them to actually put together a life that will actually help them.
Well, Speed, you may be in luck because after the third stimulus check, we're either gonna get a fourth or $2,000 every month, until this thing is over.
Yeah,
So
I don't get stimulus checks, but I do get some kind of stimulus. But I'm stimulated a lot. Coffee. Anyway, Brenda, you understand what I'm saying about welfare? That it's a badly run program, full of bureaucracy,
it
and
might be. Yeah, it might be. That might be the case. It might be a badly run program.
but I mean, it's absolutely essential. I mean, we do not want to live in a country where we see people starving on the streets. Well, we do anyway, I guess, right? Because if you don't have an address, you can't get welfare.
Well,
I
some
mean,
people
still
don't
do.
care if people have houses or not. You know, you have to kind of quiz people to see what they really care about.
Yeah. And if you're honest with them, you won't get welfare. It's just a horrible. I went through it when I was younger, and I was very, very poor for a long time, and I know that it's just not for me.
I mean, it's not for me either. I was put on this 12 years ago, so.
The
Who wants to be
application
shamed for being poor anyway? And that's essentially the attitude that's been pervasive for decades and decades. Is like, let's say you have a child on a free meal program, they get humiliated, they get exposed, treated like trash. Like, let's say you don't have any lunch money, then you're on the free program. Well, they give you a sandwich or something, and it's like walking the Green Mile or something. They
Well,
make you
I mean,
stand
look,
out.
yeah, this is to be absolutely fair. Though I guess it's not being fair. There are anyway. There's what did you say? They get mistreated. There's a disdain. Okay. To be fair, there's a disdain from both sides. The rich disdain the poor disdain the rich.
Yeah, Leo's right here too. And
Yes, I know there's a stigma behind poverty and being on welfare. I've been called a leech more than I care in my life.
what is market plus welfare support? Something like UBI, yeah. So it would be a system basically where you could work without being penalized for that that income, and at least for up to a year. That would be reasonable. And people would go to work. I mean, people want to do better. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's natural. Anyway,
But hold on.
moving on.
You okay? Fine, whatever.
What? Go
I was
one more thing.
I was gonna say something, but go ahead.
No, I want you to say it, Midnight.
Okay. You say people want to improve themselves, but I have a lot of anecdotal evidence saying that they don't. Because I always say, like, well, why don't you do X, Y, and Z to help yourself? Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy. Okay, fine, moving on.
Well, sometimes people don't know how to improve themselves. If you've ever lived in extreme poverty in a basically a small local environment that you can't escape from because you don't have the money to escape, or you don't have the knowledge to escape. If you don't have the knowledge of what is outside of the little bowl that you're stuck in, you don't know what the rest of the world is, so you are afraid of it. So anyway, knowledge about how to improve yourself is often a big problem for people that are stuck in poverty.
Well,
and when you are in poverty and you have to get up and you don't really have clean clothes or a place to shower, and you don't have a car you don't have a dime to buy a newspaper. Well, I guess they cost more now, so that you can find the ads for work. And then when you have to walk to every one of them, sometimes, in bitter cold or the hot summer, you have to walk, several miles to go and apply for a goddamn job. You give up pretty fast. I mean,
but
people stay in a bowl because
I get it. Okay, I understand. And, I understand that there are a lot of people on that are poor, that are stuck in this bubble, they're afraid, they don't have the knowledge. But however, there are some people, there are some people who, who are also, who are also poor, who for whatever reason, you know what I mean, decide to improve their lives. And I mean, from what I read, Oprah Winfrey was like poor as fuck when she was younger. She came from an abusive home. She went to high school wearing sacks, potato sacks, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Look at her now. Like, you can improve yourself if you have the desire to gain that knowledge. You know what I mean? Many people, though, simply don't. There's
Yeah. So
Speed, I'm going over to Discord since I thought you would talk about the shroud or so.
Well, no, hold on. No, stay.
I want to talk to you, Otangelo, about this. I want to talk to you about bitter atheism.
Yeah, we'll drop the topic. It's done anyway. Moving on.
Otangelo, what are you going to do on Discord? What Discord server are you going to?
At Dart's Discord channel.
Why are you hanging out with that dude?
Because I am learning from him about pre-sup.
Oh my God! You could learn from other teachers that that have people with like good people. You could learn from good people. But anyway,
I think I don't like his approach. I told it to him, and I think he's complaining that many atheists don't want to talk to him anymore. And I think that's quite comprehensible based on the way that he actually interrupts and doesn't let the other side talk. And I think I can also contribute for him to improve the way he interacts with atheists.
Okay, so why do you think the hallmark of the mature atheologist is bitterness? You think I'm bitter?
Well, I think that you still don't comprehend what your worldview and the science which you don't understand entails. That's why you are not bitter. You are not understanding what you read. That's my impression about you.
I'm a highly educated intellectual with a very high IQ. I understand a great deal of what I read. I can say the same thing about you. You don't understand what you're reading. And I've tried to read papers with you, and the shit you get out of them makes me think you don't understand them. So it's tit for tat, right? So you're accusing me. Why do you think I'm bitter?
Well, Speed, you asked me and I answered you, and that's my answer.
No, you answered. Your answer was not about why I'm bitter. You said that's why I'm uninformed or uneducated or unable to read or somehow mentally challenged. That's what you told me. I want to know why you think I'm bitter. Like
no, I don't think. Well, let me explain. I don't think you are bitter. At least you do not demonstrate that. Okay. Now
so
I think. So I think that the moment which you actually would understand what the evidence leads to, which in my understanding is powerfully to theism, and you want to strongly hold to your worldview of the no-God hypothesis, then that will cause you a conflict inside of yourself, because there is something which you want to be true, and then you understand that it is not true. You do not want to let go your worldview, and then you start with having cognitive dissonance.
No, I absolutely know that my worldview is sound. I thought about it very hard for 40 years, 60 years. And so I don't have a problem there. So I'm confident in my worldview. I don't have, there isn't anything I want. I'm a spiritual atheist. I have a really strong spiritual life. I've been able to withstand things in my life that would have toppled others. And I've done it sober, and I'm doing fine. I wake up every day. I'm excited to wake up. I love life. I've had more fun since I turned 60 than I ever thought was possible. So I mean, what am I wanting for? What am I?
Understand what I said as an attack to you? It's just as an answer which I'm giving to you in regards of your questioning why that you think that you are a happy atheist and not bitter as I described it. I think who actually understands what entails atheism is Matt Dillahunty, because if you see how he interacts at his show, he's constantly angry. He's very easy to get angry, outspoken, and so forth. And it is because for 15 years he is shown why his worldview is bunk. I've shown it to him many times, and I think that he understands it, but he doesn't want to let go. He's atheist.
Okay.
That's why he is so angry.
James Tour strikes me as an extremely angry, bitter person. When I listen to him, I can barely stand to listen to him because he seems so angry, and his face looks kind of twisted by anger and bitterness. And angry people are, I mean, because of variation in the species, 20% of us are angry like that, right? It has nothing to do with your worldview.
Well, I mean, I think he can maybe be angry. It's his way of interacting, of being, but I don't think that he is angry inside of him. I think he is a very satisfied and fulfilled and happy person.
How do you know what's inside Matt Dillahunty? I mean,
Well,
maybe this is his way of interacting with you theists.
Well, I've interacted with him for about 2 years.
I'm not quite done yet, Otangelo. So Matt Dillahunty interacts with theists in a very angry manner because he is a very logical man. He's very well versed in logic, and he thinks very well. He has rational arguments, and he deals with theists over and over again. And he has and he gets angry. So that's how he interacts. That's how James Tour interacts. What's the difference between the two?
I think Matt Dillahunty is one.
How do you know what's inside of either one of them is my question.
I think that Matt Dillahunty is one of the most irrational theologists and militant atheists of all YouTube channels.
Right, because you don't seem to understand how logic works, as was evident when you talked about falsification of irreducible complexity with Dr. Dan. I mean, you completely miss the point of very, very simple logic about basically falsification. And if you go over that and you think about it, if you actually open your mind up and realize where you got it wrong in that conversation, so you're somebody who I've seen stumble over logic constantly, and you're telling me that Matt Dillahunty, Matt Dillahunty puts out clean arguments, really clean. I envy him.
You know, Speed, I get around to
but
to
I can
this.
go. I can.
Tangelo, you overtalk Scott. Scott's next. Scott.
Matt Dillahunty has said why he gets angry is that because he's been doing it for 15 years, he's heard people say the same stuff over and over for years. It's not because he's being irrational necessarily. It's because he's just tired of the same old, and he wants to nip a lot of garbage in the bud because it won't go anywhere.
Right.
But if you roll the tapes back, he will say why he gets angry and impatient sometimes. The question is, for Otangelo, if you care to answer it, why do you think you need to read his mind? Because he's said it. Why do you disbelieve what he says? What gives you the right to try to read another person's mind?
I think he's extremely dishonest. I don't believe what he claims.
That's not an answer to the question, sir.
But I'm answering
Why do you think you get to read his mind?
I don't need to read his mind to understand what his psychological situation is.
Just like you don't need to read papers to understand them, right? Amy, do you have anything to say to Otangelo or us?
Well, we can't really see Amy because you still forget to take the.
Oh, did I put Amy down below? Let me
put me down below so that I'm the only one that gets covered.
You don't mind, Scott?
I do not mind.
But you're such a cute hyena.
I know, but you know.
I mean, honestly, the banners are a bit distracting, but that's just me.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to leave them up. Amy, hi.
Can you guys hear me now? Okay, now it's coming through.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Woohoo! What I would say is Matt has made the point that his IQ didn't change when he became a theist to an atheist. So my suspicion would be is whatever you view as his anger or whatever, his dealing with people, I assume this is the way he was as a Christian. This is just who Matt is. I think he loves life. I think he just, he gets into it in debate mode. And so
he goes for the jugular.
Exactly. And the other question I wanted to ask you, Otangelo, Have you ever been an atheist?
In my childhood, yes.
And at that period, were you angry?
Well, first of all, the issue that I am bringing here in that write-up, which I made this morning, is that angriness comes from cognitive dissonance. When you want something to be true and you discover that what you want to be true is not true, but you do not want to change your position, and that starts to make you angry and nagging on your psyche.
Did you notice, Otangelo, that you did not answer Amy's question? She asked you if you were angry when you were an atheist.
No, because I've not gone through that process. I simply let God go.
And I would say I don't have that anger. And Tangelo, I could tell you on air, I love you just like I love all of life. It has nothing to do with atheism or theism or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like you, Otangelo, in spite of the fact that I really disagree with you and I'm hard on you. But actually, you're probably my favorite Christian. I really, as a person, I like you. And I don't feel anger.
I mean, you can say...
Well, very honestly, I like you too, Speed.
Thank you.
Despite that we disagree on our worldview. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on your channel frequently. Okay, I mean, there are
be honest, you like the abuse.
Where we have some references which are not rational.
Has anybody got a tissue? All this love is making me.
Well, no, attention. Be honest. You like the abuse.
Yeah. Okay.
No, no, I don't like that.
And the final point.
I don't like it. I mean, I'm becoming angry many times in the 6 months where I'm looking around here. So that part I really don't like. Yeah.
So
but,
Amy,
I still don't like when you put the Benny Hill when I'm coming in.
but it's so much fun.
Yeah. I know it's fun for you, but for me it's not.
But, you can't deprive me of my fun, please.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it's your channel, so you do whatever you like. All right.
Yep. Okay, so we disagree totally with this because I mean, it isn't like we're struggling with our worldview. I don't struggle with naturalism. I could sit down for an hour or two and explain why I'm a naturalist and why I'm an atheist, and I think it would all be perfectly logical, and I don't have a problem with it at all. Nor do I have what I do have a problem with is some atheists who deny the humanity or the spiritual part, or they hate spiritual atheists, right? Because they don't understand them. I mean, so I get mad at those guys too, and I think Matt Dillahunty is one of those. If I told him I was a spiritual atheist, he would come down on me just as hard as he comes down on Christians.
But are you, are you even an atheist? If you had, I know religion and spirituality are different. So,
well, if you don't understand spirituality and you don't understand strict naturalism and how they all mesh together, and how being a strict naturalist, one thing for a fact, that you are an organism. You are not some singular mind substance in the world making rational, having rational thoughts all the time. You are an organism.
Yeah, I know. So it's one thing I've been trying to figure out for the past 4 years is what is spirituality, because everyone seems to have a different definition of it.
Spirituality is doing something without thinking about it. It's that goddamn simple. It's basically living your life without having a little chatterbox going around in your brain talking to you all the time. You ought to try it because it's fucking cool. like my 12-step program sponsor told me. He said the first thing you need to do is you need to put a book on a table across the room, right? And then you need to go back across the room. You need to go and pick the book up without ever thinking about going to pick the book up. So you can never think that you're going to pick the book up until you pick the book up. So you walk across the room and now you're walking. And then you grab the book and now you're grabbing. And you lift the book and now you're lifting. But never do you think I'm going to pick the book up. So
Well, right, but you don't. Wow. Okay, we'll just start with this. You don't, you don't think you're gonna pick the book up, but the fact that you're going to pick it up shows that your subconscious already thought about it. It
there's
just.
no such thing as a subconscious. Don't buy into that bullshit. But anyway.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, Speed.
And I want
Yeah.
to say, as a final point, just with the love everybody, is my whole goal is to search for the truth. So
Yes.
I would say, if this God is real, because I'm learning a lot about Yahweh recently, because we're doing our Bible study. If he's real, I 100% want to know.
Well, Amy, can you do me a favor? Though,
Uh-huh.
never stop questioning.
Sounds good to me.
In fact,
Yeah.
I actually want to publicly invite God to Thanksgiving dinner this year.
No, no, because I don't want you to be in a situation where where you eventually believe in God and like not for not for a good reason, right? Because I
Well,
know
he
you're
came
thinking
to-
for.
If you came to dinner, that might be a good reason.
Well, no. See, if he came to dinner, and he could do party tricks. I could just be like, yeah, you're just doing party tricks. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's what Yahweh does. He's kind of a main character in the Old Testament. He's doing stuff. He's having conversations. He's going to people's places. I don't know. We haven't gotten up to the New Testament. I don't know how vague he gets, but he's definitely real and can meet people and talk to people.
Well, do you know what's going on
In the
Amy?
book. In
Do
the
you know
book.
what's going on, Amy? I think God
Huh.
had the God of the Old Testament used to do that. Now he doesn't because he's really
guess
bitter
so.
now. He has this cognitive dissonance, and he's bitter as hell.
But wait, hold on. Wasn't he bitter already when he supposedly destroyed half the
was.
planet?
Well, he just called himself the God of War, which is crazy to me, but he is the God of War, so I will leave it for his
So-
own title.
Called himself the God of War. Are we sure? Otangelo is not worshiping Hades or Ares? Sorry, wrong
Well,
God.
I will say the Jews have Sheol, but they let you die. There is no hell yet. There's no hell to the Christian or the Muslims.
Well,
Oh,
maybe
really?
I would say this. That's what I've learned so far. I'm hanging around the Dark Talking's Discord channel.
I feel
Mhm.
sorry for you, man. Like
Please.
I went
you will
on there
never learn-
once.
You will never learn anything from that guy. All you'll learn is a better script. Oh, wait,
And
whatever.
I think I'm learning a lot from him. And right now I am, even in order for you, Amy, to evaluate evidence, you need three things, which is the
Oh, God.
uniformity of nature, the ability to process the information using the laws of logic exactly, and the reliability of your senses.
I mean, you do realize there are other types of
But
logic,
those
right?
are all
Boolean
tools.
logic,
Those are all
quantum
tools.
logic.
Specific tools we use as animals. Animals are the only branch of life that we know that does this. Like trees don't use the laws of logic, and they're perfectly fine.
Damn
So
it.
mean-
animals don't use the laws of logic because
So
animals
animals
do not
are
think.
the only branch of life that we know
Okay,
that use
okay,
the laws
sorry,
of logic.
I don't regard humans as animals, so we
Well,
disagree
that's
on
your.
that.
So you put yourself above other animals?
In the Bible, it says that God created humans in His
I'm
image,
asking.
which puts us above animals.
Yeah,
Yes.
but hold
Isn't
on,
that
hold on.
wait,
But we're
But
still
that's so
animals.
messed
then.
up. Wait, why does he get to do that? That's so messed up. Why does he gets to make a hierarchy where
Wait,
some of
hold-
us are a little bit more
Amy,
equal?
Amy, I have a
Sure.
way to say I have a way to
That's
settle
racist.
this. No, well, it is, but I've always says is Otangelo, why can't humans still be animals and just be part of a hierarchy? Like think of us as a shepherd of the rest of the animals, right? We're animals ourselves, but we were created in God's image. So what? See. What you're, what you're thinking, what you're thinking when you think of the word animal, is that you're thinking that, that makes humans inferior. You know what I mean? You're actually saying that your dog is inferior to you, which is messed up.
I only have a simple comment. If the cockroaches outlive us, they'll be laughing.
Darth
Basically,
douche. I don't. Otangelo, you shouldn't.
I
be
don't think you
hanging
heard
out
a
with
word.
Darth.
I don't think he heard a word I said.
No, I don't
I
think you should
wish.
hang out with Darth. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
you
No,
guys are
you did. I
free
know
to
you did, but he
hang
didn't.
out. Well, you guys are free to hang out with whoever you guys want. I think that
No, you're free to. I'm just saying that I think he's an extremely angry, abusive person. I don't think you should hang out with him. So
Yes.
well, I think that I can maybe be a little bit counter um,
oh, you're gonna fix
opposite a little bit,
Classic
Yeah.
abusive
I hope
relationship.
it, I
I
hope it
can
for
change
him
him. I
because
can change him.
I don't know if I can change him.
He's a bad
But-
boy.
that
I'm
that
sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. That's messed up.
no that
It is
that,
messed
that
up.
reminds me of somebody marrying somebody who they think they can fix.
Yep.
No, I have no expectations. I have enough experience. I'm not so young anymore to know that we cannot make illusions in regards of how we influence people. So I have not much expectations in regards of that. Okay.
Okay, there are some people in chat that think you should hang out with Darth because if you adopt any of his methods, you're going to lose. Basically, you're going to lose your reach.
I mean, that's messed up.
I would
Honestly,
love
that is
to debate
messed
him.
up. Wait, who's
What's
Come
that?
debate me, Darth. Oh, I'd love. I went on Darth chat. Like his channel on Discord is the one that has the atheism helpline, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
that's his channel. Yes,
I
that's his channel.
hadn't. They ran. One of his guys ran and asked me anything on that. I was on there for like an hour and a half, but he never came down. I was hoping he would. I should have went
Oh.
there afterwards, but I was like, okay, I've been doing this. I should probably go eat or something. But Darth,
No, I said
I
to
heart
him
you.
today. I said to
on.
him today that if you have an interaction with an atheist for half an hour, for 30 minutes, and the atheist doesn't bring forward 2 words and speaks maybe for 1 minute, and you speak for 29 minutes, then there is probably that is not a good conversation.
Indeed.
And I mean, he acknowledges this and he tries to justify it, why he did it with this guy yesterday. But I think that's not productive. And I think as well, the concepts which he brings forward, if you read actually the main authors of Presup, the arguments, they are sound, but sometimes the way you dish them, the way you provide them, the other side doesn't understand them. And as soon as the other side doesn't understand what you're saying, the conversation is over. It doesn't bring forward anything which is productive. So I think that what he says has to be broken down in a way that it's easier to be understood. Otherwise, it's not productive. But I think his reasoning is sound. I agree basically on everything what he says.
That's worrying.
Can I comment on that? Because
Go ahead.
I atheists find presuppositionalists annoying. I love it because I'm like, you guys aren't even going to defend your religion. You're
Well,
just going to do like philosophy 101 questions.
Well-
You're not even going to give the answers. You're just going to ask them. So hey, let's
No.
do it.
Amy, the reason why a lot of people hate free sub is because it's been around for 12 years or longer. People are tired of it. You know what I mean? They've heard about it. They found all the counter arguments. It's boring.
This is the most
Well, it's also
idiotic
the-
thing I've ever
yeah.
heard. Precept.
I guess if you're not a counter apologist, it's annoying as a normal person. I'm sorry, Speed. What were you?
But wait, are you a counter apologist?
I can consider myself a counter apologist.
I mean, so you believe? I'm confused now. So you actually believe in God now? I'm lost.
Oh no, an apologist defends God. A counter apologist refutes apologists.
Oh, so then I guess everybody's a counter apologist. Never mind.
Everyone
Carry
in
on.
this channel.
At least you
Or
guys
half of it.
try, because attempting to refute is one thing. being successful in doing it, that's an entirely different thing.
I agree.
Okay, so let's say you do admit that whatever precept is correct, that there is a grounding to logic and rationality and such. What does that get us? Other than a mystery that there might be something that grounds being and rationality.
No, it doesn't just ground being and rationality. It grounds our entire existence, I would say. It grounds.
So that would be being.
I have a list which I put here. It grounds existence itself. It grounds the meaning of life. It grounds the value of human life. It grounds moral values. It grounds knowing what is objectively or ontologically true in regards of reality. It grounds sound reasoning. It grounds logic. It grounds. Can I finish?
Okay, you're listening.
Okay.
It does that because you're presupposing it. That's the whole point. It's not like you're giving proof that that is true. You're just like, well, it solves all these hard questions. Do we have evidence for it being the point that solves all questions? Well, no, but to you? Well, it's like, no, but stop making stuff up.
Well, the thing is that if you remove God from the picture, you have no alternative to ground all these things.
But once again, so why would you then make stuff up about it? It's not like your solution has any. You're like, if my solution were true, then it would be true. Well, cool, but it's not. Or at least we don't have any evidence so far. I can't even say it's not true.
The typical presuppositionalist would come back and say, yes, Amy, yes, it is circular, but oh, what a beautiful circle. It's not a vicious circle, it's a virtuous circle. And they would justify circularity like that. But here's my question. Oh, shit. I've always heard that you can get a premise. I mean, what's it called? Come on, the 3 steps in the conclusion. Syllogism. You can have a syllogism that is both sound and valid, and it can still be wrong. So how do you know once you get to this God that yes, you have a great case for this ground of being? I reject the idea of grounding meaning and life and all that stuff. That's not properly basic. But when you get down to those axioms or presuppositions,
well,
maybe the whole system's just wrong.
Why do you need to ground it in the first place? I mean, like you need to. The only thinking machine that you need to ground is your computer. You know, you should have a ground on that, right? I mean, you don't have to ground your brain.
You need to ground that damn dryer.
Well, I mean, speed. Like it's like building a house, right? You need a solid foundation, otherwise your house is gonna fucking fall into sand.
Okay,
so I can understand having a solid foundation, but having a precept doesn't seem like a solid, like solid foundation. It seems like a weak foundation.
Imagine this scenario: I go to sleep, I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes, and I say, "Oh, what am I? Am I grounded? Should I get out of bed? If I get out of bed, will the ground hold me? Maybe I need to ground the ground. Why do I believe in the ground? The ground worked yesterday. There's no guarantee it's going to work today. Maybe I shouldn't get out of bed. Fuck it.
Look, I can answer the question. Speed, it's a loaded question. By asking, who grounds us, you're implying there's a who. You're implying it needs to be grounded. You're basically setting the scenario, and then you have to work backwards just to get back to zero. The question is, how far can we understand or go back to the universe? The answer tends to be the Big Bang, or more specifically, Planck time. Anything else is just philosophy or people giving their guesses so far.
And that is exactly what spirituality is about. You operate without any grounding at all. You're completely relatively free in space, and you do what basically comes to you naturally. And what comes to us naturally is morality, meaning, activity. We have things in our brain that make us move around, get food, do things. We have things that make us hug people and our children. And all of that is just quite natural, and it's all available to us without any grounding. And that is what spirituality, one of the things that spirituality is about. Okay.
I mean,
it's breathing. Think spirit, breath, spiritual.
well, okay. I guess the Snake was right. Said something about I forget what he said exactly. I don't remember. It's like it's about the one is all and all is one.
Yeah,
There
I
we
know
go.
that was earlier. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay, that would be the one is all is one, and completely becoming free of your ego, that sort of thing. Those are higher. I guess that would be a higher aspiration of a Buddhist or whatever. But
yeah, it's very high. It's very high in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization.
But another way to do it is just don't do it. Just live your life, enjoy it, grasp meaning wherever it appears.
Speed. If if you just want to live your life, why are you having a live stream about about this topic when you could just be out there enjoying life?
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying life.
Guys, you know what makes me enjoy life?
Having a live
You
stream
guys, right here, everybody in this little stream.
Right.
Well, I
Give
mean that's
me a
fair.
big hug right now.
I mean that's fair enough. This is why I do enjoy coming here and there's bullshitting. Well, not really bullshitting, but trying to argue, even though stuttering is a fucking bitch. But
we're doing what we do, and
Yeah.
and that's living your life, and you do it every day. It's a wonderful thing. The interesting thing is that getting your life straightened out almost turns on a dime. It's almost if you decide to look at the goddamn donut instead of the hole, or you have a positive attitude, and you just start living. You start living without bitterness and question and anger and resentment and I should have done this or he should have done that. Or it should be that way. If you just go with the flow, everything just straightens the hell out. And there are a lot of religions that are sourced in that idea, in that.
Well, and I will do you. Yeah, and I will do you one better, right? Like, it's like if you change your outlook on life and you just live your life and you just do what you just do what you need to, the universe seems to be like, okay, well, you're working towards something. Let me give you a break. For example, like 4 or 5 years ago, if someone told me I would have been living by myself, I would have laughed in their face. Yeah. 5 years later, here I am having my own apartment. It's all about attitude, how much you work for it. And yes, I know Leo's gonna be like, oh, that's bullshit. Blah blah blah. I'll talk to him later. But you know what I mean? Like, for me, for me, I actually found a way. Actually found a way to go on despite the anxiety and depression and find motivation. You know what I mean? That's just me, though. Everybody's not me, obviously, because the world will be boring.
And let bygones be bygones and move on.
But group hug, everybody. I'm hugging my screen.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, these are some true answers in atheism, right?
The truest.
Oh, honey.
Yeah.
It is 4:20. Nice number.
320.
I have a question.
For who, me?
No, well, for the whole group. I need a better understanding of metaphysics. For some reason, I struggle with all of that. I guess there's a lot to that. Since Amy is there, I think Amy has a good understanding. Or maybe on Tangelo, because that's a huge part of Duff's argument.
Wait, hold on,
I have thoughts about it, but if you want a better explanation.
Yeah, hold on. I need to ask him a quick question. Now, are you actually confused about metaphysics, or are you just asking as a way to see if potential knows what he's talking about?
No, I just like a better understanding. I don't understand it as well as I should.
No. I know. It was. Never mind. Go on. It was meant to be it was meant to be like a question to see. Go on.
No, so that's it. I just, like I said, I thought Amy would be a good person to kind of bring that up. It would be a good subject. Possibly, it's kind of along the lines of what we're talking about.
Well,
Do you?
go ahead,
Oh no.
Amy.
No,
Go ahead,
do you
Amy.
mean metaphysics? Because there's a few different ways you can use it, as in like the physics that is defining the supernatural, which I don't think actually exists, or do you mean kind of like metaphysics is trying to understand abstract ideas and thoughts in the mind?
I don't know. I
Financial
guess
philosophy that deals with the first principles, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Abstract theory with no basis in reality. The very subject of milk pricing involves one of the wonderland, whatever. Yeah.
So it depends on which way you want to go with it.
yeah, I guess, like I said, I understand that part of it, but I guess the part that I have a difficult is the way Darth uses when he always asks this question. Since what we've been talking about, that's part of the
So
subject. The way he
I'll
uses it,
give you an
I'm
answer.
always asking metaphysics, how. I kind of have a hard
So
time.
the way that Darth is using it is he's taking it away from Christianity. And in my opinion, what he's doing is he's taking a philosophy 101 course. He's taking, Plato and Aristotle. He's taking all these people. He's taking the deep questions that we have asked throughout time. And he's asking lay people to say, go, solve it now, or God, go. That
All this
is
does-
basically what he's doing.
Yeah, all this this does is turn lay people off from philosophy, and I fucking hate that.
And so he's not defending his religion, because what he's doing is he's presupposing his religion. And in order for you to get to his religion, you need to solve the hardest metaphysical questions that humanity has come across. That is the entire point.
Right.
I mean, if not even our best minds throughout history have done that, what makes him think that it just.
But that's the shtick.
I know that's just shtick. I just really wish he'd stop.
And so it makes people feel dumb. Your whole point is to feel dumb. The whole point is to go away with that, to sound like he was very technical. It's not like his point is to convey information. That's not his
And
point.
that disgusts me to a level I can't even express online. On air.
And like you said, everything his whole entire argument is trying to avoid defending Christianity. If you know,
absolutely,
everybody knows. Yeah, I mean that's obvious to see. And you see his argument change. Like, of course, there's 1,000 videos online of him, right? Some of them going way back, and if you look at a lot of them, there's tons and tons. And if you look at a lot of them, you can see how his argument has changed over the years, right? And now he uses a huge amount of, he attacks the person. He's always saying, you're stupid. How old are you? You're acting like a child. So he, directs it into that to completely avoid defending Christianity. And he uses the metaphysics parts. And there's all those different techniques that he uses to stay away from that, to stay away from actually defending.
Well, what he says that the very important thing is the creator-creation distinction. What he says is that, and that goes back to Aquinas, which said that you require a necessary being, and then everything else is derivative from that necessary being.
I really hate Aquinas.
And I just disagree with the being point. As someone really, to put it underly, interested in consciousness, I take not offense, but I take trouble with the terms that they use, like a being and a divine being and a necessary being, because a being entails an agency, and an agency, once again, only comes from animals, the branch of life.
Now that is fucking interesting. And sorry, that's interesting too. Well, everything's interesting, but what whatever the fuck said, actually interesting. So okay.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think the idea of being in terms of what people interpret as God, Paul Tillich used to talk about being itself, and so that's kind of where God gets place as the ground of being or being itself. That's a metaphysical term, but he doesn't really believe, or he never really said that
I agree with Snake was
being
right.
was contingent on anything.
Yeah, I agree with Snake was right.
Well, I got a question for Tangelo.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you think that the people that study evolution, the scientists, are lying about evolution?
Well, as Pete said in the beginning of today's stream, that he wouldn't like that we would go into evolution and these kind of topics.
I'm not really. I'm just saying, not going into it. I'm just saying, do you think that the evolutionists people are liars? There's people that actually study that stuff in real life.
Yeah, do you think they're all lying?
Well, no, I don't think that they are not honest in what they believe. What I think is the problem is that modern science is grounded in methodological naturalism, which I think is not justified in regards of historical sciences, where I think that all possible explanations should be put on the table and be scrutinized. And I think intelligence is a possible explanation to explain biodiversity. And
so where I was going,
and I think that I have studied what actually explains organismal complexity for several years now, and my conclusion is that the information which is stored in multicellular organisms is far beyond just genetic information. It entails also, and mainly, epigenetic information, over 40 different epigenetic codes which I am listing, and also signaling networks which are very important. And in order to have an information transmission system and storage system.
Okay, now you're talking.
Are you saying hormones transfer genetics while they're in the womb? Because that's okay. That doesn't disprove evolution.
So what I was trying to say,
what I am
that's
saying,
what epigenetics is.
Well, would you guys like that I answer?
Wait, because it wasn't only supposed to be a quick yes or no.
Sorry.
It's saying that if the scientists are lying, if the science of evolution and stuff.
I think that the science papers, they lead to the inference which I am making, that the quantity of information which we see in the living requires pre-programming and intelligence as the source of all that information and the information storage and transmission systems.
So I'm saying that if evolution is part of science.
Wait a minute. Did Tangelo answer your question about whether scientists are lying? Or did he start talking about information? Did you answer the question?
Yes, I did answer the question. I said that I think that they are not motivated by lying, but modern science and scientists, they have not they cannot resort to intelligence as a possible explanation for what they see and discover in biology. So they have to mention evolution no matter what, and that because of the foundation of modern science, which lies in methodological naturalism.
I'm just saying. Wait, I'm just saying that if you think that the scientists that made the evolution in science, since that's part of science, why is abiogenesis and things that we don't know yet not still actual science yet? Why don't they just say? Why couldn't they just lie like you think they are with evolution?
Well, I think there are many scientists out there, practicing scientists, which separate their religious beliefs with their practicing profession as a scientist. So they know that they cannot invoke as an inference to what they see intelligence as the best explanation, because it will not pass peer review. it will not be accepted by their colleagues. So they will just work based on the framework that they are permitted to work. And they just leave their religious beliefs outside of the profession.
Then why is science or evolution part of science? If by that, what you just said.
And then after he answers, I just want to make a comment.
Well, I mean, you have to also make the distinction. What do you mean by evolution? Because it is a very broad word. And
Biological.
Yeah, of course, but there are small changes, there are big changes, there is common ancestry. There are so many claims, and you have to make a distinction what you mean by that. If you mean by evolution adaptation, then yes, this is something which is undisputed. This is commonly acknowledged. But if we
the
are talking
scientific
about
theory of evolution.
But if you are talking about common ancestry and that the entire biodiversity seen on planet Earth is derived from evolution, then this is something which is disputed.
Is anyone pointing out?
You have to know the difference between scientific theory and what theory colloquial mean. Scientific theory is based on facts, then explained.
Well, the claim that all biodiversity is derived to evolutionary mechanisms is not a theory. It is a hypothesis. It is a claim. It is not
okay.
By
now I have to come in. So evolution, the fact that genes randomly mutate and the environment naturally selects them is the theory of natural selection. But just like the theory of gravity or the germ theory of disease, it just means that it's a framework of facts.
It's not, well, the question is if these mutations lead to primary speciation where populations split and then give rise to completely new and different features and body plans, like going from fish to land, things like that.
Yeah, well, that would be a mutation. What's wrong with that being a mutation?
Well, the claim that just a mutation provides that differentiation has not been shown to be true.
Yeah, well, first, it's shown to be true, but you're disputing the claim. But
no, it has not been shown to be true. If you think it has been shown to be true, show me the papers. I don't know of one paper which demonstrates that it is true.
That shows, wait, which part? Evolution? Because I could show you thousands of papers about evolution.
Okay, I am talking about primary speciation, where evolutionary mechanisms give rise to a completely new.
That's not what speciation means.
Wow. Wow. Do you permit me to finish my sentence, Amy? You interrupt me several times.
Yeah, but your sentences go on kind of long, Otangelo, if you would just shorten them up a little bit.
And you are also straw manning.
Well,
but continue.
There are things which I'm not able to explain in just 2 words. When Dimitri comes in, he rants for 10 minutes. Nobody interrupts him.
You're not preambling.
Everyone is fine.
Now you're preambling.
Listening to him.
Now you're preambling.
And when I am trying to explain something, even if it's 2-3 minutes, I am being interrupted by you, Amy. And if you want that I give you an
answer, keep on interrupting until you stop preambling.
I read my
like
Everybody, stop. Okay, Otangelo, you just went on and wasted a minute talking about how people are talking over you. So please don't do that. Get back to the goddamn topic. Except we're going a little too far down the evolution hole right now, and we don't want to do that.
Matters what the nature of reality is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Otangelo, what the hell were you saying? Can you say it? I lost track. Anyway, okay, Otangelo, you know some things, right?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Do you think scientists think they know some things?
Sure.
Okay, so you both have a knowledge set. So you both have different knowledge sets, right? How do you know what the scientist's knowledge set is? Are you a PhD molecular biologist?
Do I have to be one to understand what they say in science papers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to be a PhD or
So as a
biologist.
lay person without
But-
any degree, I am not able to educate myself and tend to understand what they are
disregard what I said. I was wrong. Anybody can learn this stuff, right? But when you learn this stuff, you have a particular set of knowledge. It's called a knowledge set, right?
Okay.
Which I have drawn here. So you know some things,
Okay.
and they know some other things.
Mhm.
How are you so sure that you know more than they know?
Did I ever claim that?
Well, you claim that they're misled, that they're misled, but that you're claiming that they believe in evolution not because of what they know, but because of their worldview. So not only do you think you know more than they know about evolution, but you also think you know about their worldview and how their worldview affects their life and their psychology.
Well,
so not only do you know more than they do, but you actually know what's in their minds, just like you knew Matt Dillahunty was angry.
Well, wait a minute. You are generalizing. I am not claiming I am not claiming that all
you
scientists.
Generalize, sir.
I am okay. So let me clarify that I am not claiming that all scientists profess something in their exercising their professional scientists, but then at home they are religious and and then they claim or believe something else. But some do, certainly.
I was just going to say that I believe you played a clip of Psi 10 there saying, "What is the nature of reality?"
Okay, somebody's mic is not working.
Context by which you determine any fact is the case, and then he cites his senses. Well, that
What are we listening to?
The nature of reality.
And then after this, can I make a point?
Yeah, but what are we listening to right now?
It was me. Sorry, I was at the Discord somehow.
Okay, no, Amy, make a point.
And I just wanted to say I feel bad going back to evolution, but I just wanted to say a speciation just means that the animals can't mate anymore. So asking for a fish to go from to a land animal is more common ancestry, but saying speciation happens every day. New species are born. There are thousands of species of fruit fly. I don't know whether the creationists like that term or not, but that is the actual definition of speciation.
Just a moment, please. I have to.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on there, Angela.
That's daft.
And I wasn't trying to interrupt him either. I feel bad. I was just trying to, when I heard the wrong direction, I just had to make a comment. But I feel bad. Still love you, Angelo.
Yeah. The thing is, we all have different knowledge sets. And my knowledge set, the reason that I believe in evolution is because of all the little things that I have learned about chemistry and molecular biology and cell biology. And that is why I believe in evolution. It has nothing to do with my worldview.
Okay, let me answer to Amy. I think you don't know the distinction between primary or phyletic speciation and the multiplication of species, which would be allopatric or secondary speciation. I can give you a link if you want. You can look it up. This is an important distinction. Speciation.
Hold on 1 second, Otangelo. I have to just step away for 1 minute so you guys are on your own.
Okay.
I'll look into the link, but would you disagree that for the way speciation is used, the general term, it means two groups of animals that have separated so far apart that genetically they can no longer make offspring. This is why we can't. Well, then yeah, exactly. And then that's why you have. I'm trying to think like mules and horses that make sterile babies because
that's
they're on the edge of it.
Yes, that's undisputed. That's undisputed. That's multiplication of species or allopatric or secondary speciation. What the dispute is vertical speciation or phyletic speciation or primary speciation, where you get a completely different body plan and organismal complexity. That's where the dispute is. And that is by no means proven that it is possible just by the traditionally claimed evolutionary mechanisms like allele frequency change and selection, genetic drift, and gene flow. These mechanisms do not explain the different complex body plans. Okay?
And so if I could respond, I think that not only do gene mutations and the environment naturally selecting them explain why we see the different organs, I would say the hallmark of design is simplicity and not complexity. So the complexity that we're seeing is actually an example of why it's not a god.
Well, I disagree completely with you. I think
let's talk about it.
It doesn't make any sense to have simplicity if simplicity doesn't work.
But can I ask you?
Yes.
Oh, were you going to finish? Well, I was just going to ask you. All right, we're building a car. Do you want a complex way to get into your car or a simple way to get into your car?
Well, you want a car which attends the necessity that you want to have. If you want to have a human, then it doesn't serve that you have a singular cell, which is much more simple than 33 trillion cells. So
I agree. We're way more complex.
So you need the complexity that is actually necessary to achieve a special goal. So you cannot say, oh, because it's complex, it isn't designed. This is completely nonsensical reasoning.
But wouldn't we expect sort of streamlined designs in a designer of this magnitude? Don't you think we'd expect the Apple AirPod, iPod of humans out here?
Well, I think that you don't see design which is overbuilt, and in many cases when scientists have come up with claim that then later
your radio in a little bit
improved. Sorry,
you were lagging a little.
Yeah, sorry, but so later discoveries have demonstrated that the design was actually the best design, and the classical example is the photoreceptors of the eye, which they claimed that the retina was inverted, and then they discovered that it's actually the best possible design. So, I mean, many times scientists have come to conclusions which were not adequate to explain what was designed, what was demonstrated in nature.
I just put in the chat a video for that eye stuff to help you understand.
How eyes you find. And yeah, it's actually fascinating, eye evolution, but you think our eye is the pinnacle of all eyes, or did you just mean eyes in general, or?
No, what I am saying is, and I put it here in the private side chat, there was a long-standing claim that the retina of our eyes is inverted and that this was bad design. And then later on, they discovered that it is actually necessary and good design. And the same goes with the appendix and with other examples which have been brought forward along the years.
If I could make comments. Oh, no. Yep. Nope.
Sorry. An octopus has their nerves in the right spot, so it doesn't have a blind spot. But why do we have a blind spot? I mean, it should be.
Oh, AIG refuted that recently, I think, or yeah.
With octopus already can do it.
They have an article,
so it can happen.
I wouldn't say our eyes are terrible. I mean, I love our eyes. We get a good visible spectrum. It's just, it's easy to see that we are not the pinnacle of eye. I mean, how many humans get corrective eye surgery every year? I mean,
wear glasses, of course.
Wear glasses, Tangelo. Exactly.
You're in trouble now, Tangelo. Peter's coming in. He's gonna give you a talking to, Tangelo.
Well, why should I be in trouble? I've been fine with him in the last
deep trouble. We got to end the show in about 15 minutes, so just keep that in mind. But David, I do want to talk to you about metaphysics.
Certainly.
I have an opinion.
Certainly, I know. I was waiting. I saw that.
Well,
Yeah,
we're not going to get.
Yeah.
We're not going to get time today. Maybe we do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. We have an Otangelo. That's a
Hi,
condition.
everyone.
It's a condition.
Hi, Peter.
Right, Peter.
Now we have a Peter / Otangelo, which is a greater condition.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, so there was only one reason I wanted to join in, because Amy earlier asked a terrific question that didn't get answered, and I'm really curious about the answer.
Okay, well, let's restate the question and see if Otangelo
Okay,
can answer.
Otangelo, if you buy a car, would you buy a car you can get in easily, or do you want a really complex way to get in?
Easily.
So you now confirmed Amy's point that a good designer will go for simplicity and not complexity.
Well, I answered that to Amy. I said, if you can't get X with simplicity, then you use whatever is necessary, even if it's complex to get X. You can't have a human being with just one cell. We are made of 37 trillion cells, and you can't have it easier or simpler. So God went with what was necessary to have it.
But we're also made with a lot of stuff we don't need, and a lot of stuff that doesn't work properly.
So if you see a cell phone, Peter, which has where you type on it, how do you say that in English?
Keyboard.
Yes, which has a keyboard which is not 100% functional, and someone asked you, do you think that cell phone was made by intelligence or was it made randomly? Would you say because the keyboard doesn't work properly that it was made randomly?
No, what I would say is that
Pete,
it
I'm
would have
agreeing
been
with
made. It would have been made by a bad designer.
That's the worst goddamn argument. Otangelo, stop using that argument.
No, it's actually a good argument, because then that would mean that it's made by a bad designer. So that particular designer could not be a perfect being. Because
I think we talked about this already, and I answered and I said that God didn't say when He created the world that it was a perfect creation. It said that it was very
I never
good.
said I never said that God claimed that it was a perfect world.
Did God tell you directly?
Is God perfect, Otangelo?
We had this conversation already. I said that God is perfect, that He's holy.
Okay,
but that doesn't entail. Let me finish. That doesn't entail that He necessarily have to create everything in as much perfect as He is. And He says in Genesis, when He created the world, that it was very
part
good.
of the perfection, Otangelo, part of the perfection is that He would not settle for imperfection.
Why not?
And then I have a question
if a
afterwards.
perfect being settles for anything imperfect, he's no longer a perfect being. It is
a lot of
that
different
easy.
word or different definitions of perfect.
Okay, Amy wanted to get in.
Yeah.
Well, Antangelo, you said 13 trillion cells, but then you kind of like left it off. Kind of like we should just assume, like, well, 13 trillion cells, what else are you going to do? But, like, is it 13 trillion cells? Therefore, I'm not even going to fill in the blank. Therefore, what?
No, I am saying that if you require 37 trillion cells to have a human being, and you cannot make it simpler, then you go with that kind of complexity in order to reach your goal. You cannot say, oh, because God wasn't able to make a human being just with one cell, that He was an incapable designer or a bad designer or whatever you want to say.
Do you know how babies are formed?
And I would say in response to that, Antangelo, it's just really to highlight how bad a measuring stick complexity is for intelligence. We can't just look at something very complex and go, therefore it was made by an intelligence. Just like now you are saying, well, we can't just look at something with simple and it can't just be by a designer, which means that I guess simplicity or complexity can't be what makes us thinking agents.
Okay, I made an article in regard to what does complex mean. I can put it here in the private chat if Speed wants to put it in the public chat, and you can look it up. And I think our argument was far more than just about complexity.
Otenslo, quick question. What do you think complexity means? Is that the amount of cells, or is that the complexity in the DNA?
There are different. I mean, I can read that for you. What I am saying.
No. You can also answer it. It's an easy question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, complex means that it is something made of different parts, and then of course there is a DNA complexity. There is a machine complexity.
Okay, but if you say if you say living beings are complex, where is your measuring stick? Is that in the amount of cells? Is that in the amount of organs? Or is that in the DNA? How do you measure complexity?
Yeah, all that. I don't know there is a kind of way to measure complexity. I mean, even the word complex, I mean, as I put here in the side chat, the link to where it comes from, the root of that word complex. Okay.
Otenslo, do me a favor. Don't start about the roots of words. There's already one guy on here who vehemently tries to explain where words came from, and that doesn't work in science. So it doesn't matter where the word came from. What is more important is the usage of the word today. So if you say a being is very complex, what do you look at to determine whether or not that being is complex?
Okay. Complex means woven together, encompassing, aggregate parts, interlinking, interlocking, twisted, interlaced, fused. All these words, they have everything to do with complex. Okay. Now, in regards of your question, can you measure complexity? I would say no. I've never seen someone quantifying what that means.
You misunderstood me. I asked you, when you say a being is complex, how do you determine the complexity of that being?
Well, I would say that the unicellular organism is made of less number of parts than a human being with 37 trillion cells. It's made with much more parts.
Let's go with that. We have amoebae that have DNA that is multiple times the amount of DNA that human beings have, and we're talking about a unicellular. Damn, I can't speak today. Unicellular organism that has DNA that is, I'm not entirely sure, but hundreds of times more complex than that of human beings. So, and you wouldn't consider that complexity?
Well, the thing is that most part of that DNA is not functional. It doesn't encode to make proteins, for example. And scientists still don't even know what the function is of that huge number of DNA. And many strings are repetitive and so forth.
Are you arguing for junk DNA? So for a designer who on purpose put in junk in DNA that does not have a function?
No, what I am saying is that science doesn't fully understand yet what the function of the entire genome is. And what has been discovered is, I'm sorry, I have to attend my phone, just a minute.
And then I want to ask a question again, kind of circle it back, because I'm not sure.
Go ahead. I jumped in. You were first, so go ahead.
No, I actually like that. It's just it seems to me 13 trillion cells, therefore God. I didn't want to fill in the blank, but it seems like how he is saying, how else could it possibly come about unless there was a creator who made all these 13 trillion cells? And the answer was very slowly over billions of years from a violent chemical process that eventually became tamed by the life forms inside it.
It's actually what speed is showing now is
complexity.
Is complexity, which is gathered over time. Someone started collecting Legos, and more Legos over time, and they could build more and more complex things over time. They didn't just go to a shop and buy for $1 million in Legos. It is added complexity over time.
So has someone built
that's a really good analogy, actually.
Or yeah, but has someone built that structure, or did it come together by just leaving the building blocks there over a long period of time, and then when someone came back to look, then
you mean
they self-assembled?
Let me try.
Peter, I'm the author of that structure. I built that structure over a period of months. My goal was to use every Lego in my box. I still have not finished it, but I did not think about how to build the structure. I just kind of put together each little piece in kind of a mindless pattern, and then fitted it onto this big board. And there was no design involved at all. And this thing very much grew over time. But Legos do not get up and walk around and attach to other Legos because they're not enzymes, they're not proteins. So don't use that silly argument that it couldn't have built itself, right?
Can I steal Man Otangelo's point here?
Go ahead.
Because so you said, did it happen by accident? If something exists after a long period of time, no. So the mutations that we know take place every single time an organism reproduces, combined with several factors, one of them being natural selection, will create something that there's no intelligence involved and there's no designer involved. And the best thing is there's no end goal. And this is why some organisms go extinct, because they're not able to adapt fast enough.
Okay, Peter, I put in the private side chat here a link. Where do complex organisms come from? There you can look up my entire study of the topic. And in another opportunity, you can comment what you think about it.
Do you have a better explanation than 90% of the experts in the field of biology and of genetics already have? And have you presented your study for peer review? Otherwise, there's no reason to go look.
Okay, the peer review is out there already. I don't have to produce anything new. And my conclusion as an alternative to evolution...
The peer review of your study is out?
No. My conclusion is based on peer review science papers. And my conclusion is this. I will read this for you. It's 3 lines here. The big umbrella contributor to explain organismal complexity and biodiversity, which falsifies and replaces unguided evolutionary mechanisms, is pre-programmed, prescribed, instructional, complex information encoded through at least 33 variations of genetic codes and 41 epigenetic codes. Complex communication networks use signaling that act on a structural level in an integrated, interlocked fashion, which is pre-programmed to direct growth and development, respond to nutrition demands, environmental cues, control reproduction, homeostasis, metabolism, defense systems, and cell death. Okay.
Okay. So, but
okay, don't read.
What part of that was peer reviewed?
Yeah.
Well, if you scroll down, I will provide all the links to the science papers upon which I come to that conclusion.
Yeah, okay, but you came to a conclusion, Otangelo.
Yeah, you came to a conclusion that wasn't peer reviewed. That's the point that I want to drive home.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that the peer review.
Simple question. Could you be wrong?
No. Listen, what warrants science is the peer review of what has been discovered. Like everything that we see there, they describe it, and that's accurate, and that's the evidence. Now, what you make out of that information, that is an entirely different issue, and you cannot peer review philosophical inferences.
Exactly.
I come to the conclusion that the information stored in DNA and in epigenetic codes must be pre-programmed.
Okay,
I'll
accept that. Hold on. I'll accept that. I'll accept your claim right now. My question is, it's a double question. First, could you be wrong? And has anyone tried to check your conclusions and to come to the conclusion whether or not you were wrong?
Of course. Of course I can.
Okay, of course what? Could you be wrong? Of course someone checked whether or not you were actually wrong.
No, you can check. I'm providing you the link. You can look.
No. Otangelo, please. I asked a specific question. Okay. So you said you could be wrong. That is honest. I commend you for that. At least you're honest enough to say I could be wrong. My second question was, has someone tried to take your conclusion and to prove that you were wrong? Has someone done that? Can we find that anywhere?
I don't think so. I've not seen many people actually investing much time to go through all my investigation.
Because your argument is so bad.
And Antangelo, can I ask you a different question, but similar?
Show me why. Speed.
Because there is no
based on the science.
Because there is no argument here. All you're doing is listing complex things and talking about how many complex things there are, but you never explain to us why those complex things have to be created by an intelligent designer. You just say 40. Okay, hang on a second. You say there's 41 epigenetic codes. Fine. So what? How does that point to an intelligent designer?
Okay, read here. I have put here 4 points. Do you want to read them, or I can read them? There, I explain
you will not. You don't. You dare read from your cap's board.
Can I ask
I
before?
Swear to Christ. Go ahead, Amy.
So it's Antangelo. If you were to be able to prove evolution and even abiogenesis to your satisfaction came about by natural means, would you still be a theist and a Christian?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with my Christian faith.
Just answer her question. Directly answer her question. No, you're not. You're about to go off on a tangent. Ask that question again, Amy. And it's a yes/no answer, right?
Basically, if evolution and abiogenesis were proven to your satisfaction by a natural means, would you continue to be a theist and a Christian?
Yes or no question.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make what worldview you have?
Well, do you want me again a yes or no question?
No, that's not a yes or no question.
No, that's not a yes or no question.
That's more complicated. But I mean, what does worldview have to do with there's, I was talking to a theist a week ago who, absolutely, he's completely open to any part of evolution. He doesn't care. It doesn't affect his belief at all in Christianity.
Well,
he has faith. He has pure faith.
It would affect in the sense that Christ, he endorsed the Genesis account, of the 6-day creation. And
where did he do
Adam and
that?
Eve.
Where did he do that exactly?
You can read it in the Gospels.
We're in the gospel. I don't know what a gospel is. What is a gospel?
Well, I had to find. I don't think you want
Is
to
that like
wait
a Bible?
until I find you the.
Amy, are you familiar with that biblical passage where Jesus endorsed the 6th day or 7 days?
I'm not
No,
up to
he's-
that yet.
No,
but I don't know.
Christ says that God created them male and female. So
That's already wrong. That's already wrong because we've got tons of organisms that are not male and female.
he is talking about humans.
We've got less. Wait a minute.
He's
We've
talking
got.
about humans.
Wait a
not
minute. No.
other
I'm not talking about.
organisms.
I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about. You said he created the man and female. We've got lesbian lizards.
He's talking about humans. It was about the question about marriage, and I think then he answered about humans.
Okay.
He created
Okay. So
humans,
who
male
created
and female.
Okay. Who created hermaphrodites?
Well, I believe
My
that God
parents.
created all.
Sorry, Otangelo. Can you say that again? Just
No, my parents.
yeah, but someone had to create the how an hermaphrodite is built.
But it's
According
not
to
your way,
Otangelo,
apparently.
according to Otangelo. So I'm curious.
Oh,
We
I think
know-
it is a genetic problem. It's not normal that someone is born with both.
Okay, but
sexes.
who created the genetic problem then?
Well, it
Wait a
happened
minute.
Who
It's not
created-
normal.
right?
Wait,
in-
I need to specify. Who
Wait,
created?
it's not normal. Who
Oh, wait a
says-
minute. No.
What-
No, wait a minute. I need
course
to
it's not
rephrase
normal.
my question. I need to rephrase my question. Who created the system that allows for that genetic abnormality? Who created that?
Well, you can read that there was a fall, a breakup in Genesis.
I know. So, but what were
that
new
brought
things
in-
created? Were new things created
Well,
when the
that
fall
brought-
happened?
Well, that brought in genetic entropy and that everything is
So,
how can I say?
okay, I'm trying to steelman your
Boiling-
position.
going down.
Otangelo.
You know? Yeah.
Otangelo, I'm trying to steelman your position. So when the fall happened, God started creating again, and that's where he created the mechanisms that result in genetic failure, basically.
No. He didn't.
Oh, so the
recreate. I
genetic
think it
failure was already created with Adam and Eve.
Well, when you have a car and it happen and you have an accident, you damage something, right?
But nothing was damaged when it comes to a mechanism. So if you have a car and you get into an accident, that doesn't mean that from that point on, every car factory in the world will start producing crashed cars. It just doesn't work
but
that
something,
way.
but something was broken, and that's basically what it means in Genesis.
Yeah, but
that
the creator of the
there
car.
was a fall. There was a
No,
fall,
no.
which
No,
entailed which
No,
which
no, it's a bad
involved-
analogy. It's a bad analogy because the creator of the car will still produce good cars, not cars with dents in them, missing wheels, missing headlights as a result of a crash. It is a really bad analogy.
Well, no, because God, it doesn't say in the Bible that God was continuing to create new things. It says that He created in 6 days a very good creation, and that with disobedience of Adam and Eve, sin came into the world, and the world basically was broken, and that it
Okay,
continued
but
broken.
who broke it? Who broke it? Because Adam and Eve didn't have the power to break the world.
It was a consequence of their sin.
I get it that it was the consequence of, but who actually stepped in and broke it.
I don't think that someone stepped in and broke it. It was a consequence of
Didn't Satan
disobedience.
tempt?
If I buy Otangelo, I'll try again. If I buy 2 cars and I have 2 cars, right? If I then crash 2 cars into each other, who then tells the factory to, from that point on, produce broken cars? Because
I think that doesn't mirror what is described in Genesis.
But it can't
happen. It is an analogy. It is an analogy.
That could only happen. That could only happen if Adam and Eve, from the moment of the fall, started having sex with every organism on the planet in order to corrupt their DNA. It doesn't happen.
What the Bible says is that all creation was affected by their disobedience and sin.
Affected how? What was the mechanism that affected them? Because it couldn't be Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had sex with each other, and possibly Eve had sex with her sons. That's a whole other thing. But Adam and Eve didn't have sex with animals, but the animals were broken as well. So there must have been a mechanism in place that when Adam and Eve broke, everything else broke as well. And if you say there's an intelligent designer, the only option is that the intelligent designer on purpose broke everything. So that would mean that we have a second creation at the moment of the fall or shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I don't think that he actively promoted to break everything. It was a consequence of their sin. Now, I don't know the details.
No, okay, but if I get, I don't know how to explain this so you understand. If I get into a car crash, how does that affect every single other car on the road? It doesn't.
Yeah, I understand.
And in fact, in reality, it does. Because the intelligent designers that we have for our cars will look at crashed cars in order to make newer cars better instead of worse. So that's when we can see that there's intelligence, because intelligence will improve stuff, not make it worse. And according to your Bible, when we had a first car crash, your intelligent designer decided to make everything worse. That's
and then after he responds, can I have another question?
No, that's not what the Bible says, Peter. The Bible says that the disobedience of Adam and Eve entails that all creation was affected. Now, if you ask me how in detail that happened, then the Bible doesn't say how that happened, and so I cannot explain it to you either.
Who's the only one in the power who is the only one in the Bible who would have the power to do that?
Well, I don't think that, as I explained you previously, I don't think that God actively went there to break everything. I think that it was the direct consequence of their sin.
If that is what you state, then we've got not one intelligent designer, but we've got at least 2. Who's the second one? Because things don't just happen. You stated that it doesn't happen by accident or by chance. That is your argument.
Okay,
some intelligent designer has to do it. So if God didn't do it, who was the other intelligent designer that messed up creation after the fall?
Okay, Otangelo, do you understand what we did here? We read the book, the Bible. And we use logic to come to the conclusions that Peter's telling you about. and nobody's peer reviewed us yet.
Well, you guys are free to come to whatever conclusion you think is fit and sound.
Amy wanted to say something, I think, right?
Yeah, and it could be, I guess it's kind of in a different direction, but my question is, where is he? Because I'm going through the Bible from start to finish for the first time, and he is a surprisingly active character, like a main character. He's all over the place. So there's this designer that made us and set us all off and used to talk to us, but where is he now? No more?
Where is exactly your mind located in your brain, Amy?
So my mind is the operating system. It's a system of neurons connected together. It's I would call it in contrast to the brain, which is the physical hardware.
That's not your mind. Where are your thoughts stored in your brain?
So it works
the hypothalamus.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it is located in different sections of the brain, but it's the cycling of inputs and outputs, that feedback look. Your consciousness is going through there.
Yeah, and also a memory is not also a memory is not stored, because so if we now have this conversation, if you tomorrow for the first time you think back to this conversation, you will think back to this actual conversation. If next week you will think back to this conversation, you will no longer think back to this conversation, but you will think back to the first time that you thought back to this conversation. And that's goes
like
on and on and on. So you always think back to the last time you thought back. And this is why a lot of people over time have different memories of an event. And we can check this and come up with conflicting memories of a specific
breaking through.
Someone's flushing the toilet. So that's how you come up with people who had an event where they were together, and over time they come up with a different memory of that event. And that can even mean that person A drove the car in the original event, and after 10 years 4 people who were in the car have a different memory of who the person was who was actually driving. This is a flaw in our brain. So memories are not stored.
Well, the point is that you cannot open your brain and then demonstrate me and localize exactly where your consciousness and your thoughts and your memories are located.
No, you can't open a hard drive and find a JPEG.
Right.
Well, I would say
I can open my car and find the motor going or my car driving.
You can't find you can't get into your car and find the energy that propels your car forward.
Or you have your computer, but you can't actually open your computer and find the Windows on your operating system. For that, you need to actually turn on the graphical user interface that allows you to interact with the operating system.
Yeah. And that's basically how the mind works as well. The mind is the software, your brain is the hardware. That was what Amy was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I'm picking apart your molecular.
So where is it? Where is it? It can depend. So it's the same thing with a hard drive. If you do not clean up your hard drive, every single time Windows reads from your hard drive, it will take things off of the hard drive and put them back. So over time, the data that compiles a specific JPEG can be shattered all over the hard drive. And this is why you need to clean up.
So can the hard drive produce the software?
In this case, this was naturally forming. I know the creationists love to use the word code, but we have to remember that the DNA that animals, that all these creatures came around for billions of years. Oh, including minds. So that means that the natural operating system came first, and then we created artificial operating systems. Yes.
Well, I think you have not answered my question. Did
The
the
answer is
brain
yes.
produce the software? Have you ever seen hardware producing software?
Right.
But see, you're saying, have you ever seen something artificial give birth to something artificial? But no, we haven't. But we're natural
We're
things.
natural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otangelo, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever seen a god create anything? Maybe just a cell. Have you ever seen a god create a cell?
No, but I have seen humans with intelligence making
No.
software
That's deflecting.
and
No,
machines.
sorry, that's deflecting. Have you ever seen a god create a single cell, let
No.
alone an entire human being?
No, of course not.
Okay, so and this was your gotcha. Have you ever seen a computer design a computer? No, because it didn't happen. Have you ever seen a god create a cell? Your answer is no. My response would be because it didn't happen.
And is that logical, that response, Peter? Do we need minds to make software? Yes or no?
We need science. Well, I can answer this. We need minds to design software because, and here's the difference with evolution between evolution and software. Software has a specific goal in mind. That goal is set before the software is even created. In evolution, you've got an end result because of outside influence with no specific goal in mind. This is why organisms go extinct, because the mechanism that builds that specific organism can end up building it for an environment where it's no longer sustainable for that organism to live in. So that's your difference.
So what made the first software which is required to have the first life then? You had no evolution at your disposal.
Before we answer that, can I just say
there was no software. There was only chemistry. Life is a form of chemistry. Life is a self-replicating chemical substance. That is
and
it.
we do have to separate out life and consciousness. So the brain is the hardware and the mind is the operating system. But you are asking for kind of like programs. Consciousness is a program. It is one of the programs that the mind is running. But we can easily demonstrate that consciousness isn't the only programming running on your mind.
So, Peter, do you know a life form which doesn't have DNA?
Yes.
What life form?
Viruses. We've got tons of viruses that are RNA based.
Viruses are not considered life, and I am talking about.
I didn't say. Okay, no. You said, "Do you know an organism?" You did not say. Do you know a living organism? You said an organism.
I mean, okay. So,
life form.
Do you know a living life form which doesn't require DNA?
I would say that we don't consider viruses, RNA-based viruses, alive because of the criteria that we put on the term alive.
That it's not a life form. So
yeah, but I think
he was trying to. He's trying to say, do we have anything that isn't it?
We made up the definition, and so now we've got a self-replicating organism, which is a virus, and we do not consider that particular virus to be alive. Yet it is replicating, it is thriving, and it is sustainable in our current world. And so what exactly how do you define alive? What is alive?
It has to have a metabolic thing, and can reproduce. I think.
No, I was asking Otangelo. Sorry.
Okay.
What is life?
Life consists in reproduction, metabolism, homeostasis, nutrition, complexity, organization, growth and development, information content, hardware, software entanglement, permanence, and change. That is the definition which Paul Davies gives, and I can give you some other.
Hardware, software entanglement.
There is another one here, Daniel Koshland. In
no. Hold on.
Supply.
I want you to explain hardware, software entanglement in an organism.
Yes. What is the function of DNA, Peter?
What is the function of DNA?
Yes.
There's no function. Because if there was a function in DNA, then there would be a specific end goal. There's no specific end goal because DNA, when itself replicates, will have mutations. Every single multiplication of DNA will have those mutations. So there's no specific end goal. So it doesn't have a function. It does what it does.
So can we have life without DNA?
That's the black swan fallacy, because we have no clue what is out there in the universe. We could come up on life forms, and I will use air quotes where you cannot see that. We could encounter life forms that are not DNA based. We have no clue what can have and has happened elsewhere in the universe because we can't get there to investigate.
But what's wrong with DNA? What's wrong with DNA?
The fact that on Earth. No, wait a minute. Let me clarify just a little bit further. On Earth, we only are aware of DNA and RNA-based, self-replicating, natural organisms. That is on Earth. We also thought we only had black swans until we went over to Australia and found that there are black swans. So asking me if there is life without DNA is asking me, are you omniscient and do you know what is going on in the entire universe? My answer would be no, but I can't rule it out.
So do you think it is reasonable to think that eventually we will find green swans wearing Gucci handbags and legging Fabergé eggs?
I mean, none of that's unnatural. It's silly, but not unnatural.
That was a question to Peter.
Yeah. Okay. So I've seen cows wearing buckets on their head.
No.
I wouldn't even. I was answering your question. I was answering your question.
You are sidestepping. I am asking about green swans wearing
Gucci handbags
and legging Fabergé eggs. Do you think it is reasonable to expect that in the universe somewhere we will find green swans like that?
So again, I'll start my answer. My answer includes the explanation for my answer. I've seen cows wearing buckets on their head. So I have no clue what's out there in the universe. Maybe there's an alien who at some point found a Fabergé egg and a Gucci handbag, took that back to his planet, and on that planet was a green swan who stuck his neck into the handle of the handbag, ate the Fabergé egg, and pooped it out again. So now we've got a green swan with a Gucci handbag laying a Fabergé egg. So it is possible. Is it likely? I don't think so. Is it possible?
It's not definitely possible to be a swan on another.
So that's the answer which I was expecting. Of course, you can make up whatever scenario you want, and say there are
No, I didn't make up a scenario. No, wait. Okay, so then you misunderstood. I did not make up a scenario. I just pointed out that there is a possibility. Is there a likelihood? I don't think so.
Okay, so my
difference. There's a big difference between possibility and likelihood.
So and my answer to your black swan fallacy is this, Peter. What
you asked for the possibility?
Can I answer, please?
Wait. Yeah, I need to finish this. You asked for the possibility, not for the likelihood. That's why I pointed that out, that those are two different things.
So my easy answer to the black swan fallacy is what can be claimed without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So
exactly, a god creating a single cell can be dismissed without evidence. You just made your own point.
No, I disagree with you.
Yes,
and I'll come to that.
That's going to be one of my questions. Well, I mean, if I could just say, I mean, what is more silly? What is the big difference between sentient green ducks and a man coming back from the dead and ascending to heaven, leaving no body? I mean, they're amazing scenarios, but if there are aliens out there, there's nothing saying that natural selection, and especially convergent evolution, which means that we're going to have similar animals or even similar structures like plants and things like that, can arise in similar ways because nature and the environment may drive them that way.
Peter, the function of DNA is to make proteins. Okay, that
no,
would
it's not
be
the function.
right
it's the result. No, it's not. It's not a function.
It directs.
It's not a function because
it is a function to direct.
A function has a specific preset goal. DNA does not have that because if it had that, it is failing. Because we've got mutations.
Okay, listen to me. You require a minimal proteome and a minimal genome, and that minimal genome instructs the assembly and making of a minimal set of proteins which are necessary for life to start. And as an example, I take as a
You're breaking up really bad.
Okay, guys, can I answer
am I interrupting? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you were breaking up really bad. I don't think we got any of what you just said.
Okay, Dimitri, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, question about what is the definition of life? I'm reading directly. Life is dynamically stable system where information determines its own supporting structure. This is the definition of life.
Okay.
Second, about the function of DNA. DNA is preserving information. It's just a storage of information. Is that good enough, D'Angelo?
Yes, I agree with the second part of DNA being an information storage mechanism, but the information stored in DNA directs the making of proteins and the operation of a living cell.
So
the molecules are the RNA molecules which direct the expression of DNA and other junk DNA functions, which we don't want to go into that right now.
So in general, you're correct, but the DNA do not store information only for proteins.
No, I've not said that. But in regards of the definition of life, there are different definitions. I go with the one by Davis.
When David published his paper for his definition of life?
That was an article that came out in the New York Times, and this was I don't see the date here. He wrote a book on the origin of life. It's pretty old, I think 20 or 30 years old, something like that.
Okay,
And then
so
when
the
you said, I
science,
want to make a point.
so the science is developing. Usually, it's not
I don't
steady
think
state.
this. I don't think what is life is a scientific question. It's a philosophical question as well.
True.
I don't know.
Otangelo, I've got one question. I've got one question that I've been dying to ask when you asked me about the green swans wearing a Gucci handbag.
And then I want to make a comment about them too.
Yeah, and you're going to love my question, Amy. I'm pretty sure. So, Otangelo, is it possible that in time we will discover a god wearing a lime green tutu, fishnet stockings, wearing a bright pink long-haired wig, in high heels, and that particular god would tell us that he was the one who inspired the Christian Bible and he abandoned the human beings because they outlawed drag queens? Is that possible?
Peter, I met that guy at First Avenue Bar about 20 years ago.
God damn it.
I met that guy.
I don't expect you to answer, Otangelo, because this was obviously a joke. But it was as much a joke as you asking me for the green swan. I just wanted to lighten the conversation.
I mean, okay. I need to ask something, Peter. It's very important. Does this god look sexy in drag?
All I can say that this god has one true follower, because this god goes commando in debates.
But you understood the moral of my question.
I hope you understood the moral of my last remark.
Yes, I did too.
I would like to share with you a very
interesting... And I need to state, Otangelo, I'm really glad that you and I have been talking a lot on Speech Channel, for which I'm eternally grateful. And I'm really glad that every single time that I've spoken to you, I have never had to worry whether or not you were wearing pants and whether or not you were wearing underwear. Never. I'm happy for that.
Wait, hold on.
No, 11th Dimension wanted to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to say something else, but all right, whatever.
After? Getting wine.
I just want to share a good game for kids, basically educational game for kids with the Lego game.
I love me some Legos.
Yeah, you like Lego, right?
Well, I'm an engineer at heart, but yes.
Okay, so Speed, can you put the picture of this Lego room?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I think it's very good for kids to play around. It's called Evolution, of course.
Oh, let me see if I got it here. Okay, here. Got it.
So, first of all, this is a very complicated structure. There is a stairs, all kinds of stuff there, right? Think about how many actual individual, not as a number, as a type of units have this Lego. I can count probably 3 or maybe 5 different units.
Yep.
So the entire Lego structure is made by just 5. Let's say it's 5 different units. So type of units. You see what I mean? You can build very complicated structures with just a few units. And that's how actually biology is built up. Just with few units, you build very complicated structures. So the game goes like that. In one room, so there is 2 rooms, and those 2 rooms you cannot look between them. So you cannot look anything that is happening in one room cannot be assessed in the other room. In first room, there is a kids which they build something. In the second room, there is a kids which have idea what to build.
Oh, wait. Can I just interrupt?
Yep.
There's God with his Fabergé egg.
No, that's it. You see, he has a knife. But
Yeah.
anyway, Demeter.
Yeah. So
that's Abraham.
Imagine you have So imagine you have two separate rooms, right? So the first room, the kids don't know what they are doing, but they know only one rule. They should build whatever it's returned to them in addition. So meaning they can add something to what is returned to them. And this is in the first room. The second room is the kids that actually take whatever they want to build and just take a part that looks like what they want to build, but they cannot build it by themselves. So what is happening in the first room, the kids just build something junky, BS of something, and give it blindly to the second room. In the second room, the kids just pick up whatever they like and return it back to the first room. The first room kids just continue to do something else more than whatever, but preserve whatever was returned to them. This is very important, to preserve whatever structure was returned to them. And once they build something, they give it again to the second room. The second room just select what they like and put it back. So neither of the room actually knows what the others is doing, and neither of the room knows. For example, the first room don't know the second room what is building, and the second room don't know what will be returned to them. You got the game? So the second room, kids may have idea to build a car. Let's take again this car analogy. So, but the first room will just build completely, they don't know that they're building a car, right? So by returning back, you pretty much, you have a process of selection and process of building. I guarantee you by this game that finally a car will appear.
Yeah, I want to add to this and tell you a little bit about how I built this thing. I went to Mall of America, has Legoland, right? And I went and I had my son's sets of Legos, and then I went and bought these green and blue and black blocks. And
Wait, you built these?
I did. I bought exactly.
Whoa, nice.
I bought exactly the same kind of blocks, right? And you can see these structures. There's a lot of repeats, right? So what I did is I started looking at the mathematics of how you can combine 3 Legos and 4 Legos and 5 Legos, and I built these little. So over and over again, these are like all these things are the same structures, the stairways going up and all of. They're repeats of very small units, and then I started combining the small units into larger units, and then I started filling in the gaps and going kind of, because I was trying to use all my Legos. But basically, this is very much like biology, where you start with a very simple, small combinatorial plan, and that plan interacts to produce larger and larger structures. And that's why
I love how you also put polyploidy in there.
So Dimitri, let me ask you a question here.
Yep.
Let's suppose that speed gives you all the entire number of building blocks which we see here in the picture, and we leave them just randomly there on their own, and we wait for 1 million years. What do you think would happen? Would you see that structure we see here in the picture, or
No.
would you see just the degraded basic building blocks there laying around?
As you said,
biggest straw man I ever heard of, Angelo.
it's a very simple answer. No, you will not see anything happening. They will stay and will lay down.
I agree with you, I think that is exactly what we would see if you would have all the building blocks already ready in the right number on a prebiotic earth and leave them by their own.
I agree with you.
I got a question. I got a question in line with the one that you just asked. So let's say we have a God who is eternal, who has existed for eternity. When does he come up with the idea to create humanity, and why?
Well, God, whatever He makes it out of love. And
No, I didn't say what He made it out of. I said we have a God that existed for eternity. For eternity. At some point, this God decides to make humans. Why does He decide to make humans? When did He decide to make humans? How did that happen when He had no desire to do so for an eternity?
Well, first of all, I see eternity as something which is a timeless dimension. I think we can think in a timeless dimension, and the example is when we are dreaming.
We can. If we're in a timeless dimension, that means that something in that timeless dimension exists for literally no time, which makes it, by definition, non-existent.
False. I disagree with you, Peter. When you go to sleep, I think we had already this discussion. When you go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning, you remember that you have had many different dreams, but you don't know exactly how much time has passed during that interval.
No, sorry. I do know that. I do know the time that I've got an alarm clock. I know at what time I went to bed, and I know at what time I'm getting up. So I know exactly how much time has passed.
If you don't have the clock and you wake up in the morning and nobody informs you how much time has passed, then you don't know.
With the knowledge that I have, I can still make that conclusion that time has passed. I can go to bed when it's dark and wake up when it's light. I know time has passed.
Yes, but you don't know how much time has passed, and what you need actually to have time flowing is action, physical action. And you don't have that while you are dreaming. You have actually a sequence of dreams of different things which you dream of, but they do not happen in a physical realm. So your dreams don't happen.
They do happen in the physical
realm. Well, of course, your body is sleeping and that time is passing, but I am explaining that your perception is not in time. You are not in a dimension where physical action is happening.
But now you're making a big mistake, because now you said my perception of time. My perception of time has no influence whatsoever on time itself.
Yes, and that's how I imagine that God can have thoughts and consciousness, but without being in time.
No, because there is
no physical action.
Yeah, but he also wouldn't have time to think.
Why not?
A place in time.
You can't think without being in a dimension where there is physical action.
Thinking would include a physical action in a brain, and so for a physical action in a brain to happen, you need time.
Yeah, that's another topic. That's another topic.
It's not another topic.
Yes, it is.
Tell me. Okay, I'll ask you in a question the same way you ask questions. Do you know of any software that is not stored on any computer device whatsoever, or any other storage device?
I don't think that the mind is software in the sense as dependent from the hardware.
That wasn't my question.
Yeah, I don't compare the mind to software, which is dependent on the hardware to be stored in.
So what is the mind?
It is a substance different from matter.
But that's not an answer, Otangelo.
Well, you want a
what is it?
What's
the substance made of?
Okay,
if it's not made out of matter,
the mind is a simple entity. Okay, and I can give you an argument. I mean, I have read it already here at the speed.
Have you ever talked to a psychiatrist and said to the psychiatrist the mind is a simple entity? because no specialist in that field would agree with you that the mind is simple.
I mean, if anything, one can make the argument that the mind is a complex entity made of. Never mind, go on.
Can you split a mind in two?
Let me ask you.
Why?
Let me
Yes,
ask you.
we can by splitting
Yes,
the brain.
and
Otangelo, let me tell you a little story that happened in my life. Okay, I was a truck driver for a while. I started out. I needed to drive from Holland from where I live to Basel in Switzerland. And I know exactly where it happened. 75 kilometers past Cologne in Germany. I, for a lack of a better word, lost consciousness. I have no clue what happened. While that was happening, I drove to Basel and back. I have no recollection for about 24 hours of my life. None whatsoever.
Wow.
It scared the living daylights out of me. And the only thing I had was a few tiny shards where I saw an alien sitting next to me in the truck, and then I stopped at a parking space, and I saw more aliens in the bushes there. I've never stopped at that particular parking space ever in my life. After this happened, I went there, and I knew what it would look like if I would go through the bushes and look at it from the other side. So I definitely know that I've been there because I could describe it before I went there. It took me 10 years and running into a psychiatrist by accident and telling him this story to get a decent scientific explanation for what actually happened to me. I still have, so when a truck driver in Holland back then had every thing was registered in the truck. I have that card where everything is registered. I drove it at maximum speed, which is illegal. When I got back in Holland, the truck was damaged. I have no clue what I hit, but I hit something, and I hit something substantial because the things that were damaged were quite sturdy. I still, to this day, have no clue what I hit. I could have hit people. I could have hit something on the side of the road. I have no recollection of those 24 hours. And what the psychiatrist told me is he started asking me very simple questions. It turned out in that period of time, I was living under an enormous amount of stress. I had problems at home with my partner. I didn't like the job that I was in. I didn't get paid for the hours that I worked. I had to be away from home, which I hated. And he said, all of this stress, at some point, your brain, your mind was going to no longer take that. So the mind opted to show you pictures you liked, to calm you down. And this is a survival mechanism. Whether or not the guy is right or not, I have no idea. But for me, it's the best explanation because I don't think that I had an alien sitting next to me who somehow abducted me and robbed me of 24 hours of my life. And I went to Basel, I unloaded my truck, loaded it up again, went to a restaurant, had something to eat. From there, went to a hotel where I spent the night, got up in the morning, started the truck, and the moment I was in the vicinity of the German city Heidelberg, which is my second hometown, I regained consciousness. I had no clue, and I was scared as hell.
You were essentially an autopilot, and let me tell you, that is...
Yes.
Let me find my words.
And then there will be a word from your sponsor.
Well, yeah, but I'm not on the program. But no, I just wanted to say that what Peter just described, it is disturbing, unsettling, like whatever the fuck word you want to use.
Yeah,
Like
scary. It's scary as hell, and to me that is 100% evidence that the mind is not simple.
Oh,
I
it's
can
not.
duplicate.
Trust me.
And the
I can
reason
duplicate.
I found out is because I was in a relationship with a woman who had been sexually abused for 20 years, raped for hundreds of times, and
Jesus
what she
Christ.
and what she had, she was visiting the psychiatrist. What she had, she saw colors. We would be sitting in the room, and then she would ask me, "Do you see that?" And she would point at a specific point in the room, and she said, "Do you see that? It's pink, and now it's blue." And that was a similar thing, according to the psychiatrist, that what happened to me. The mind will show you something you actually like, and that is different for different people. Back in that time, I was heavily into UFO shit. I was watching Discovery Channel. I was watching Ancient Aliens. Everything I could find to find more about UFOs and aliens. And that is why my mind went to aliens, because that was something I was interested in. I really wanted to meet aliens back then.
I never actually.
Okay,
I can duplicate.
the sponsor has a word. Jay just came into the room. He came in.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
But Jay,
All I was gonna say is I can actually duplicate that same set of circumstances. Just give me a bottle of 100 proof Smirnoff.
Yep.
Okay, Jay, I do have Stro rum, which is 80% alcohol, or 160 proof, as you would say in the U.S. Would that do the trick?
Yep. Just give me enough chocolate to kind of help absorb things and slow the. Yeah.
We're coming up on 3 hours, guys. I want to end.
Yeah. Speed. Why are your hangouts so much fun?
I don't know.
Wait, hold on, Peter. Like I guess my brain hasn't been stressed enough to see colors or aliens. I mean, that's still scary as fuck, but it's like, I mean, I want to see aliens or some shit. I don't know. I'm just
okay, but how do you know that at some point in your life, when you were in a stressful situation, you didn't see something that wasn't actually there? It was just your brain calming you down. You don't know because you wouldn't have noticed. It is with these insane things that the thing that happened to me, which you know cannot be true, that's where you find out that you're actually seeing things. But what about people seeing ghosts? What about people seeing demons? I had a theist on my channel who explained that she saw what she described as the devil, and she saw Mary. What she had was now I forgot what it was. Sleep
apnea.
No, where your
deprivation.
Where your body is still asleep, but your brain is
paralysis. Sleep
paralysis, and that is where people start seeing things too. And this has been demonstrated and replicated under controlled conditions. So we know that is happening, and we know that people actually see things.
Well, that's where I thought I saw Jesus, but then I do realize and I do understand where I manufactured the Jesus part of that experience. It was more of an idea or a concept and a something above my bed, like a presence. And then later on, I sort of filled in the details. But under extreme stress, when I was 15 years old, I had a grand mal spiritual experience, which lasted for 3 days, basically. And it was the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. And it was very interesting.
All these people were having all these, for lack of a better word, wonderful experiences, and here I am, saying, wonderful. Hold on,
no. I can tell you, sleep paralysis is not a wonderful experience.
No,
because it'll scare the hell out of you. And
Peter.
the reason a lot of theists will start praying and calling Jesus and actually seeing Jesus is because it calms them down, and then slowly the body catches up with the brain.
Peter.
And will wake up.
Okay, you know what? I definitely need to. I just need to say something. I used the word wonderful because I couldn't think of a better word at the time. Okay, I'm not saying it's wonderful. Okay, so don't put words in my mouth.
You know what your problem
Amazing.
is? Your life doesn't suck enough. You haven't.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I should probably
See?
go out there and get beaten up or something.
Yep.
I don't know. Whatever. And I know, and Jay, I know it's not all about me. Okay.
I just, yeah. My wife has a. Oh, sweet! An osprey just flew by. That's cool. My wife has had squirrel. Sorry about that. My wife has had a history of sleep paralysis. I've been waiting for that to happen sometime to her when I'm awake, just to really terrify the ever living shit out of her. Because I've got some pretty interesting Halloween masks that would just basically give her probably a heart attack.
Jay, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
We're so much alike, Jay. You have no idea. As I said, I was a truck driver. At some point, I have hidden a truck horn under a bed with a switch, waiting for my girlfriend to go to sleep. Awesome. It has happened.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And I was very lucky that I didn't have to spend the night outside. I was still allowed to sleep on the couch. But that was as near as I got.
Okay, you know what?
The fact that you actually woke up alive is incredible.
Yes.
I am never doing that to my boyfriend. Fuck you. That sounds mean.
So I can tell you another thing. So here in Holland, when you go to a car show, for some stupid reason, people will have small dolls. And those 9 out of 10 times they're little boys, and they will carry tools, and they will prop those up against their old timers or classic vehicles during car shows. I had one of those as well. My girlfriend didn't know that, so in the middle of the night, I got my doll out of the garden shed and put it in the living room, and just waited until she had to go to the toilet. Going through the living room, and let's say she was living in an apartment building, and that's where I had my stuff stored in her shed, and she didn't know what was in the different bags, so I got away with that, and I smuggled it in. It woke up a very big part of the apartment building when I did that.
God, Peter, you're such a sadist.
I don't think I ever want to share a room with you.
Yeah, when we're talking about fear response, it's one of my my wife likes to go. She goes a little hog wild for Halloween, and so she has the lights set up, and we change out even the exterior lights so that they're dark and brooding, and we got the lightning bolt stuff and all that other crap. And so one Halloween, I dressed up all in black with a chrome skull mask. And I would hide, and I would basically stand in the front yard in the darkest spot I could find, kind of gauge it and everything, and have my wife, check everything. And so that when the lights would rotate on, nobody could really see me. They would just see the lights kind of like glance off this chrome skull mask. And that would scare the shit out of the kids enough. But then the following year, I decided to change it up, and I dressed all in white with the same chrome skull mask. And so when I would be helping my wife get stuff out of the house and everything, some people are like more candy or whatever, people would see me and they go, "Oh, cool, he's dressed up like a ghost. That's neat." And then I'd turn around real quick and they'd see this same chrome skull mask just glaring back at them. It would make them drop they'd run. There's something about the white, and then turn around seeing this that scared the shit out of them more than just the ominous black figure. It was because it just wasn't expected. So
hey Jay,
I like playing games like that.
Say Jay, your buddy Praise is doing biblical slavery right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Emptying.
Yeah, I just said that. For fuck's sake, I had my mic muted.
Anyway, should we end
Gavin
this?
There? Is Gavin there too?
Probably. Let me check. Let's see.
Yeah, without pants on.
Because if he is, there's no way that I can get into that room.
No, he doesn't appear to be. It's just Praise talking by himself.
Well, that doesn't mean that Gavin ain't lurking.
Gavin will be.
He can sometimes be logged in and kick people, but they've supposedly Praise put out yesterday that he wants to be more gracious and allow people to talk more and not get kicked and all this other stuff. So I give that all of about 48 hours in that win, but
No,
I'll believe that when I see it. In other words,
you're being too generous. Give him 24. Wait, even that's too generous.
I'm just saying that's been brought up before. And it's never. It is what it is. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it.
So if I promise all you guys a steak dinner, can I end this broadcast now?
I mean, your channel, man, mend it.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to end for the day. It's been 3 hours. I'm barely going to get a transcript on this one because of that. Anyway, anybody want to say anything? Now's the time.
Stay curious.
I want to say something because a lot of people come here and enjoy your shows. I want to say something. Subscribe to Amy Newman and her Bible reading stuff because she puts out really good content. And if you haven't watched, subscribe to Amy.
Yeah, Amy's trying to get in, but her devices are not connected, and I'm gonna end. And you guys got to stop showing up late. It's fucking 2:00. This thing starts, right? It's like, okay, goodbye, cruel world. I'm ending the broadcast.